Get nasty here on a Friday afternoon. It's the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here. Our guy, Anthony Stalter. He's got the day off.
Nice vacation, huh?
Yeah, a little family time. Anthony be out today and all of next week, I believe.
Yeah.
So happy vacationing to the Stalter family before school starts up with all them little minions over there at the Stalter house. All right, Carey. Big series, right? This Chicago Cubs.
I've been saying it all year, right? Huh? Most important series of the season.
And your Cardinals looked pretty darn good last night.
They did. Marshy even texted us after the 8th inning, like, good game, guys. You know, great game by our Cards, right?
Yeah, big win. I stopped watching after the 8th inning.
Well,
it was great to take that first game.
Stop watching because, Ryan Helsley's going out there.
Well, of course.
Finish it.
What could go wrong? Well, everything.
Yep.
Ryan Helsley, he has had a tough go against the Cubs this season. Marshy, I sent you those numbers. Do you have those numbers?
Yeah, so against the Cubs, he's 0-1 in 5 2/3 innings. He's given up 6 earned runs. He's walked 4 and has an ERA of 9.53 in those 6 appearances.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great at all. And also not great is the Cardinals today. So far, new Cardinal, Erick Fedde on the bump.
Fetty Wap.
He just gave up a slam-a-lam-a-ding-dong. Cards are up 4-0 now.
Apo Taco.
Yeah. So tough start for Erick Fedde as a Cardinal, but lots of game left, as we learned last night.
He hit it into the rack you were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, that rack never looked so good.
The Wrigley rack.
But yeah, so last night, guys, any concern here about Ryan Helsley? Overall or just against the Cubs? Like, what are you thinking, CD?
I just want to say it's one game and not, panic too much about it. To give up 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th, that was the one thing that I think we've talked about all season that you felt most secure about. Getting it to the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning with a lead, you felt pretty darn comfortable with what the Cardinals were able to do. You've seen kind of Jojo Romero maybe start to take a step back, and they're not using him in that role as much of late. Andrew Kittredge, we still, I think, have great trust in him, and Helsley, but last night was just a bad outing, and the Cubs found a way. They stole second base, put themselves in scoring position to tie the game. Swansby drove them in, and so you have a moment that just didn't look good. It didn't happen the way you wanted it to. But all in all, I'm not ready to panic with that position. Now, everything else, we've talked about there. The jury is still out.
Yeah.
But Ryan Helsley, I'm not gonna overthink that situation just last night.
Our guy Goldie stays pretty hot. He ended up with a home run and a double last night, I believe. It's pretty good. He's had 3 home runs in the last 4 games.
He's doing pretty good.
Doing well.
You need him to step up.
Is he turning it around, boys?
Wow.
Is it too little, too late?
So Goldie, I think, is only 2 home runs off the pace for the team lead at this point. Because Nolan Gorman has either cooled off or not played. As we see, he's not playing.
Again.
Alec Burleson has not gone yard for a handful here. And all of a sudden, Goldie's slowly creeping up with 17 home runs now on the season.
He has started to see the ball better. There are still times where he looks completely lost and kind of wailing at pitches as we got another
my goodness.
Homer Gomer.
Gracious.
Erick Fedde just gave up second home run of the game.
Bless it. Why can't we have nice things?
Solo home run.
Marshy?
Yeah. Chicago Cubs
This guy
up.
he's in Chicago. I don't know. Whatever.
Cubs up 5-0, bottom of the second. Lots of game left.
Just went from the south side to the north side. He didn't have to drive far.
Yeah.
He wasn't with the team till yesterday. I'm sure when the team got there, he just hit 94, went, north.
Yeah, Carey, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you
I
either.
don't know what to tell you either.
I think the wind's blowing in, too.
It is. I think it is.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what they said on the broadcast, but hey, just one game, right? Ryan Helsley, just one game.
well, now that's 2 games.
2 games.
All right. And soon enough. You can't. We won't get into it. There's still plenty of. We're over. It's only the second inning. It's 5-0.
I mean, how bad can it get, right?
Yeah, it can get really bad.
I do think it is bad because you're playing against the Cubs. You should beat this team. You have this guy that just came in that you have high expectations for, and he's not looking good right now. Last night you have the lead, and your all-star closer gives it up. Now, the guy's not Eric Gagne or Mariano Rivera by any means. It's going to happen. I think it just happened at a terrible time in the season against your arch nemesis in the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field, so it's heightened a little bit more.
I think that's probably, if there was a concern, it's the moment, right?
Yes.
It's the team, it's the moment, it's the division opponent, your division foe, Cardinals, Cubs, and you lose that game in the way that they did last night, to give up 3 runs, to give up a shot, and to give up a couple of doubles. Like that, to me, a double and a single to walk it off, that to me feels like the concerning part, because you would hope that when the juices are flowing, that to me is almost like a playoff environment, right? You're playing against your division foe, and that team they're only 4 games behind you. Like, it's not like they're completely out of it as well. So, that is probably the one concern, just not rising to the occasion in that moment.
Yep.
But it is one game. And so I don't want to overthink it again, but if it were to happen another time, another outing, then we can start thinking about there's some cause for concern there.
So if we're going to isolate maybe a couple positive things, we brought up Goldie. He's hitting the ball well right now. Sonny Gray.
Yes.
And we had the cryptic Sonny Gray post-game interview that we all were kind of scratching our heads as to what the hell's he talking about. Well, he was on the bump last night, had himself a pretty good night overall. And Pedro Paez sat down with Jimmy the Cat Hayes pregame today talking about Sonny Gray and maybe some of the things that he saw that we were supposed to see. Here's Pedro Paez.
Man, his mentality, even pregame, the whole week leading up to this, like he talked about it after last start. He was like, "Hey, I know what I got to do. I got to commit to it," and he did, man. He went out there. It was impressive to see like the whole week how it led up to this moment, and it was just his mentality out there. He was just a different guy out there, just being able to just trust his stuff, throwing it all through the middle of the play, and just using his off speed when he needed to, and just mixing the curveball when he needed to, and stuff like that. But it was just his mentality, in my opinion. It was nothing about how his pitch execution. Nothing. It was just his mentality out there, and he spoke about it after the game. I watched the interview now, and he's a dog, man. His mentality out there, what he's done, what he committed to this week is something that's going to, I think, help him from here on out, and it was something really impressive yesterday.
So I think last night was outstanding for Sonny. He did a great job, 9 strikeouts. I think I will say this, Sonny, if you're listening, you probably gave the media too much credit, or at least this group here, because I don't know what I was supposed to see. I mean, I love the strikeouts, but I think you've done that this year. You've done a great job with that. Maybe what Pedro said, the mentality, I can't see that. But
yeah, and we don't have the ability to be down there and watching his pregame warm up and all that stuff.
But it was good. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, Sonny Gray.
Shame he didn't get the win.
It is a shame, and if you're the Cardinals going down this last part of the season, you're absolutely going to need Sonny Gray to be able to pitch properly and to be right. And if it's this preparation that Pedro Paez is talking about, this intensity, this dog inside him that he needs to keep reminding to do those things, then so be it. So be it.
Yeah. For me, from what it sounded, just listening to Pedro Paez talk about it, it was his mentality in attacking the game and going after it, and maybe his mentality in preparation. And you know this, Jamie, it is so difficult as a professional athlete to always be on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's got to be tough once every 5 days.
What?
But sorry, no offense to once every 7 days.
Oh, yeah, because clearly we're coasting here. But just to be on for 24 hours, the entire time you're up, that's your main focus. Like, you still are a father, a husband. You got real life responsibilities. But if you're so engulfed in, I have to do this, everything else kind of takes a backseat, and your family knows that. It's an unfortunate, part of the game, but they understand that, and it's and so maybe that's what he was talking about, just knowing that I have to be mentally preparing, even when I'm not starting. Maybe instead of 2 days before my start, I need to prepare the 3 or 4 days. Like, as soon as I get done, I need to start the preparation and get my mind right back into what the next start is going to look like.
Yeah, or maybe he had just changed a few things on game day. Like, I used to do that. Like, first of all, I was not Sonny Gray when it came to, like, the way he's so, I guess, regimented. I didn't have any, like, superstitions.
Nothing.
I'd show up to the rink and be like, okay, what do I feel like doing now? And just kind of go about my business.
You are a maniac. You didn't have one thing that you
Nope.
kind of set your clock by in what you did every
Nope.
single day.
Carey, let me tell you, I'm going to take you behind the curtain here, okay? I never even looked at my skates to see how sharp they were.
You didn't pay no
Because-
attention.
I didn't pay attention because if the guys can get in their own head, they feel a little bump on the blade, and all of a sudden they're out there and they're like turning and like slipping.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, my skates are ruined." I didn't want to be that. I told the trainers, "You guys do a little drive-by, take a look. If it needs it to sharpen, don't even tell me.
Right.
Don't tell me. I want to know nothing." First 3 years of my career, I didn't even have my own pattern stick. I would just go take a left-handed stick out of the stick room. Everybody's got a
Whatever.
special curve and a flex. I would just go
Whatever's
take a
there.
left-handed stick. I think I'll try this one this week. And just go out there and play. That's how I got there. Why would I change now?
Jamie was more concerned with the fights going on outside of his
yeah.
room in Russia.
No, that was
than about
later
the
on. That
game.
was
Later on in life, but yeah, those were fun. Those were fun. I feared for my life a few times, but no, I wasn't regimented like that. Like, did I leave for the rink around a certain time? Well, yeah, I wanted to be at the rink by a certain time, but it wasn't like if I don't leave at 3:33 and 12 seconds, I'm screwed. I'll play terrible. And that's why I
And
didn't
there
have
are
any.
some people like that.
Well, that's why I purposely didn't have any, because then you get in your own head. Oh, but my stick is moved. So who touched my stick?
Right.
It's supposed to be over here.
Right.
Did anybody damage your stick, you moron? No.
You're fine.
Just pick it up and play.
Yeah.
So, some of these pictures,
No,
like it's...
It is, because I think that's in every sport. There are people that are like maniacs and freaks about their stuff not being right where it's supposed to be or not being in the order that it's supposed to be. And you're looking at them like, dude, it doesn't matter. You're either going to play well or you're not. I don't think that, that sock being laying there instead of there is going to change the outcome of the game.
So Jamal Mayers was my teammate 2 different times here in St. Louis. And Jamal was super serious about his sticks before the game. He'd take them to lay them in a certain spot, tape them a certain way. And if it wasn't perfect, he'd rip it apart and tape it again. And then he'd go place them on the wall, like perfect, so that the top, they're like identical sticks. And okay. I'd go over and move the sticks. Big Walt, he'd see it too. Big Walt would walk by, move them back a different way. And Chandler would come in, who's touching my sticks?
He'd be mad.
Oh, yeah, he'd be all mad. Just funny stuff. Fun to mess with people who have those little superstitions. Anyways, it's 2:13. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an official provider of Rolex jewelry. When we come back, we're going to activate the text line, and we're going to activate the mic drops, because this segment, little did we know how this would hit. But next segment, what are your expectations for Erick Fedde? We'll get into that next here on 101 ESPN.
towards right center field. That's pretty well hit. Newcomb back some more, and that one's gone. An opposite field 3-run homer for Christian Bethencourt, and the Cubs have opened up a 4-0 lead.
All right, that was the audio right there from Marquee Sports in Chicago as the Cubs go yard on Erick Fedde, newly acquired Erick Fedde. All right, guys, what are your expectations for Erick Fedde? And is it can't be fair right now to look at what's happened already in this game, down 5-0, and act like, oh, this is what we've acquired, right? Am I crazy?
No, I would say my expectations wouldn't be based on this game. I mean, because this is not how you want to start this. Your tenure out with a new team. You just got traded. There are high expectations. People believing that you're going to come in and be the number 2, at worst the number 3 starter for this team. And so you get out to a rough start. He threw a lot of pitches also. He was having, long at-bats. Paredes, I think, had like 9 foul balls. He's at about 45, I think, maybe 50 pitches at this point. So it's been a rough couple of innings for him. But I don't expect it to continue to be that. He wasn't traded for and brought here to be what we've seen today. So good news, fellas. It can only get better. Right?
True. And I don't think it's identical to compare these two things, but I'm going to do it anyways, is a pitcher being traded midseason reminds me of a quarterback being traded midseason. Now, the quarterback, of course, has to learn a playbook and the terminology. There's way more to it, okay?
Right.
It's a loose comparison. But the pitcher going to a new team, first of all, it's nerve-wracking. You're a pitcher. You're on a brand-new team, just met the guys. You got to go up there and try and perform. Second of all, you got to figure out who your catcher is going to be for your start. You've got 2 catchers on the roster that are both very active. Mm-hmm. So now you sit down with Pages if you're Erick Fedde or Contreras. Who's catching today? I can't remember. Contreras is catching today. So you sit down with Contreras and you go through a game plan. And then I noticed that Fedde was using the pitch com to call his own game, which isn't crazy to me because he's the new guy. There's no way the catcher can know what he wants from that pitcher yet. Right. So Fedde is calling his own pitches. And then at the same time, he's struggling. Maybe it just got a little overwhelming for him in that moment. I'm willing to give him a pass on that. So we'll see. Cardinals, by the way, down 5-1 now with the bases loaded for Nolan Arenado. 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. We'll see if Nolan can do some damage here. But I think overall, the expectations for Erick Fedde is that, like you said, CD, he's got to be that number 2 guy on this team. He can't be the number 3.
No.
He can't be. You traded for him, and again, Mo won that trade by all accounts, but you traded for a guy who could come in and help your rotation in a big way, and he's supposed to do that.
Yeah, he is. And I think, like I said, it's one start, it's one outing. To give up 5 runs and a couple of home runs, I think that's frustrating, right? It's not I guarantee that is not how he envisioned his first start as a Cardinal. But he is calling his own game, and maybe that's new for him. Maybe that's something he's not comfortable with. He may want the catcher to tell him what to throw, and they kind of be on the same page. So right now, it is all on him, and maybe that's kind of what's causing some of the issues. But give him a week or 2. Give him a chance to, as you said, learn the catchers. They learn him and figure out how he wants to attack batters, each at bat.
Think we should just blame Contreras?
I mean, I think that's what that worked well for them last year, didn't it?
Isn't that what we do? We just blame the catcher.
Rule number 1 in the Cardinals organization, blame the catcher.
I thought we blame Anthony.
Well, Cardinals.
Or Ollie.
Well, this is probably the starting pitchers then. Like they have their, how we in the fast lane have our rules. Rule number 1, nobody safe. For the starting rotation, rule number 1, blame the catcher.
Yeah, if things go sideways, blame the catcher.
Yeah, point at him.
Yeah.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
You got to be better.
Yeah. All right. So, again, what are your expectations for Erick Fedde? We asked for your text messages. Mike drops, by the way, the 101 ESPN mobile app. Just click the little mic, and we'll get to that. But we did get one from Ed. Ed, what do you got?
Great question, Jamie. What are my expectations of Fedde? Right now, it's just be better than Lynn. If he can pitch better than Lance Lynn, then we shouldn't have any problems because Palante's doing it. So I don't know why he can't. And they're going to kick Palante off this roster. So Fedde pitches better than Lynn, which is 5 innings, or more, I think we're good.
All right, so just pitch better than Lance Lynn. All right.
Lance isn't pitching for a while.
Kind of pitching
so
like Lance Lynn right now.
Jamie.
What, no? Too soon?
Yeah, probably.
All right, well.
He's trying.
Nolan Arenado did not do any damage. Cardinals still down 5-1 here as they head into the bottom of the third inning. So we'll see what goes on there.
I wonder how much more Fedde got left. He's thrown 64 pitches in 2 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much juice does he have left?
He's got to at least get to 80 pitches. You got to hopefully.
That could be the end of. He could be going 3.
Well, I don't care. He's got to go deeper than what he is right now because that bullpen can't handle it. Oh boy.
Speaking of, okay. Yeah. He said deeper.
The wind is blowing in, gentlemen. The wind is blowing in. Let's not act like we're Cubs fans now where there's a routine fly ball. Oh!
Hard to tell.
We did get a text from the 618. Look, my expectations for Fedde don't change based on this game. We traded for you to improve the team in the run up to the playoffs. That is what he needs to do. And if he's dropping games or isn't giving us an opportunity to win, then you're not holding up your end of the deal, period.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I can see some of that. I mean, he's here to make your team better. And based on the pitchers that were available at the deadline, the Cardinals got one of the best ones available.
Yeah.
So you can't hate the move. And again, I'm not going to pin his very first start and the damage that the Cubs have done. It sucks. It really does because you needed this win. But you have to let Erick Fedde work his way through this, get used to the team, and figure out what he's going to do.
It's not over yet. Like, they're still, I mean, the Cardinals just had the bases loaded, and the Cubs walked in a run, so they were able to score one, unable to score any more. But there's still time in this game. So we'll see how it goes.
We did get a text. I know we were talking about Lance Lynn, and I think when we think of Lance Lynn, we think a lot of what he was doing earlier in the season, and it just didn't look sexy, right? But we get a text from the 314. Say what you want about Lance Lynn. The Cards have won 5 out of his last 6 starts. In the 5 wins, he has allowed 1 run, 0 runs, 2 runs, 0 runs, 1 run. And in his last 10 starts, the Cardinals have won 8 of them. Not bad for a 5th starter. Fans were trying to dump from the rotation after he allowed 10 earned runs in a start a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, Lance Lynn, like I said, it's not sexy. His outings aren't sexy by any means. But
it depends what
when you
into.
look, that's fair. When you come on, I was on a roll.
I didn't hear it. So
it's still applicable. Andrew, finish. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
I didn't hear what he said.
He just said that although it's not sexy, he's getting the job done. And I just said, well, it depends what you're into. So, no, but you're right, Marshy. Lance Lynn is taking some heat for some of his blow-ups earlier on. His pitching has been better. The bottom line is he's still only pitching 5 innings. He's really only on 5 innings. And, we wanted innings eaters when these guys were signed to this team. So is that on Lance Lynn? Is it on the front office? Is it on Ollie? I don't know. But Erick Fedde is still battling here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's thrown 72 pitches now, 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. So if he gets out of this and he's able to get to if Erick Fedde's able to get to 5 innings today, through 5 innings, that will be a success based upon how many pitches he's had to throw and the score that's up there. And that certainly will help the bullpen for the Cardinals here moving forward.
I also think we're only 3 innings in. Like, if the Cardinals can produce the way they have the past few days, they got a chance. I mean, last night they didn't put up 8 runs by any means. They still scored 4 runs. But the previous 2 days, they had, over
18
runs?
Yeah. 2 games.
So, I mean, it's possible. Like, this team can come alive. So let's not count them out just yet. We have a full show to talk about it.
Well, and the Cubs probably going to their bullpen soon.
Yeah.
Because their pitcher's up around 80 pitches right now. So if that's the case, who knows? So, all right, we'll see what goes on here. We'll keep you posted throughout the day. Coming up next here in the Fast Lane, it's What's Trending on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals are currently trailing the Chicago Cubs 5-1 in the top of the fourth inning. That is coming off a 5-4 loss last night at Wrigley Field. We'll keep you updated on today's score as the show progresses on. We also have some interesting news coming out of City SC. We're going to dive into that next in What's Trending. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, this is from Tom Bogert, who covers MLS. The New England Revolution are nearing a deal to acquire center back Tim Parker in a deal which would see center back Henry Kessler head to St. Louis City SC. Tim Parker put out on Twitter X, he said, basically, STL, it's been real. It's been a good ride. He said, STL, it was fun. Are you guys disappointed in how much turnover there's been with City SC after 1 year?
It's interesting. Like, you got players, now Tim Parker, you've had Sam Adeniran, AZ Jackson, those guys who were all names and people that had some success on the team last year.
Hell, even Bradley Carnell's
Bradley Carnell, the head coach, right? The head coach, the main one. Like, that to me it's intriguing that it has happened and the turnaround has happened so quickly. You just shot out of a rocket last season with 7-0 and really surprising a lot of people, and had a really good season in the letdown against Sporting KC in the playoffs, and to turn around and not even 12 months later, it's so much transition is it's interesting.
So I'm going to say something that I've said before. City SC is having the expansion year this year. This is the year they were supposed to have last year. I'm not saying firing a coach and things like that, but just you were supposed to have these obstacles last year where you can't figure out what style of play you are. You've got some injuries. You're getting used to each other. You're trying to figure it out. Maybe you got to move some players because they weren't the right players. But they didn't have that last year. They had the perfect storm for an inaugural season. And then right from the beginning of this year, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
No matter, I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't the same. And the coach lost his job. Now you've had a bunch of signings and guys coming in, and now guys going out. Now Tim Parker, he's out of here. So it's been a weird year.
It feels weird, but if those 2 years were reversed, you would be ecstatic. Like you would. Mm-hmm. But to your point, this is the year that they should have had last year. So in my mind, it kind of questions, well, why all the transition? And I think maybe there were so many high expectations based off of what last year was, and last year may have just been a facade. Like, it might not have been actually who they were, and it surprised some teams, and they were able to sustain it throughout the entire season. But you saw it fall apart come playoff time. So maybe what we saw middle to the end of the season is really who they were, not the beginning of last season.
I do think injuries have played a huge part in all of this too. And I find it interesting because, you go down the street and the Cardinals, they preach, oh, we got to be patient. They're not very, well, we need to make all these moves and change the team. And then you look at City SC and just like they start to crumble a little bit and then everything just changes.
Yeah.
And so quickly too. I just find it interesting that a team does that. And I'm not saying it's the wrong move by any means, because they could end up having a great second half here. But I think it has been slightly disappointing given what we saw last season.
Yeah, I would agree. We'll see what happens. Good luck to Tim Parker. He was a solid player, good individual.
Scored the first goal.
Scored the first goal for City SC.
In City history.
So good luck to Tim Parker, and then hopefully we got somebody coming in here that can help City SC make a little bit of a playoff.
You all know this, Jamie. legends never die.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yep.
Speaking of a legend, Giovanni Gallegos, he was one hell of an arm in the bullpen for the Cardinals for a decent stretch, and he has received his release from the Cardinals. He is now a free agent. What are your thoughts on Gio? I think that we started to see a decline last season where, he'd come in, if he would give up a home run, then he'd give up 2 home runs. You're like, what's going on with Gio? He was one of those guys you could really depend on in the later half of a game. And the fall off was just so quick.
Well, he was the setup guy when they had Cabrera, Gallegos, Hicks, right? That was your 1, 2, 3, the Kittredge, Romero, Helsley.
Right.
That was what you had for your trio. Then when Hicks was injured and stumbling a little bit, Gallegos became your closer. He was an important part of the team's success, and then it's just weird how it just started to decline quickly. And now the wheels have kind of fallen off to where the Cardinals weren't even using him in any capacity except a blowout to eat up some innings.
He was one of those pitchers that we talked about it. I've talked about it a few times. Just last year, he would be a guy that looked good one day, like would come in the 7th or 8th inning and get 2 or 3 guys on you. Like, oh, good. And then you give him a chance to be the closer because somebody might have been tired and you're like, oh, he stinks. And it just, you never could figure out which day was going to be the best day for him last year. This year, obviously, he dealt with some injuries and wasn't performing at the level, had really no role in that 7th, 8th, or 9th inning because of JoJo, Kittredge, and Helsley. So, what is he and what is he going to do? And when he did get those opportunities, just wasn't hitting the spots like he needed to. So, they DFA'd him, and now he's able to go wherever he wants to.
So, Marshy, help me out here, because I don't claim to know all of the rules when it comes to baseball and their roster construction or their roster rules or whatever. So, Gio managed to just become an outright free agent. He asked for his release, I guess, is what he did. So this would be like a buyout with the condition of termination in the NHL, where both parties are like, you know what? This isn't working. You don't have to pay me another cent, but release me.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to get an opportunity here anyways.
Is that what we're dealing with here?
I believe so.
So both parties agree. So Gallegos won't get paid anymore by the Cardinals, but he does have the ability to go sign with any team in Major League Baseball, I believe.
I believe so.
Okay.
He's
Now,
a free agent, I would assume.
Yeah, just Carey.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not poking at you, sir.
You a little bit. You looked right at me. Well, he's a free agent. Well, no guff.
No, I was just happened to look to my left and you were standing there.
Oh, okay.
You're not Anthony. I can look at you in your eyes.
that is true. A little bit more eye contact today.
Well, good luck to
Feels
Gio.
good.
He was a big part in a lot of Cardinal wins, so good luck to him.
This is really cool. So Bobby Witt Jr., he hit a home run last night. He is the first in AL/NL history to join the 20-20 club. That's 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases in his first 3 seasons. I was listening to the opening drive this morning, and they were talking about if you could start a team right now with either Aaron Judge or Bobby Witt Jr., which player are you taking? I wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
If I'm starting a team,
you're starting a team.
Bobby Witt Jr. It's a much more difficult position that he plays. So finding that elite shortstop with the bat and the speed like he has, that's really difficult to find. And I know Aaron Judge is absolutely smashing baseballs, but I can find an outfielder with pop. Maybe not as much pop, but and defensively I can find an outfielder that's equal or better than Aaron Judge. And I love both players, so this is kind of like, I don't think there's a wrong answer in this. I just feel, from my opinion, that the shortstop is a more valued position than certainly playing in the outfield.
I would say Bobby Witt Jr. as well. He's, 8 years younger than Aaron Judge.
I think that's the key there.
So let's play the game. Let's say they're both the same age.
Are they both 24?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's...
Because I want to make this like a fair game. Because the age thing's an easy factor to decide.
No contract, no money associated to either one?
No, they're current deals. They're current deals.
Bobby Witt Jr., he's making less.
Okay. If that's the big difference for you.
I mean, yeah.
You throw the age thing in there. It kind of changes things, but I don't know if it necessarily does. That's tough, though, to just pass on a guy that hit 60-plus home runs a few years ago.
It is.
It is, but how many home runs did Bobby Witt Jr. hit last year?
I mean, he can hold his own weight for sure.
30 plus?
Let me check.
He hit
probably going to hit 30 plus this year.
Last year he hit 30 on the nose. He's 30, at 20 right now.
It's pretty Pretty damn good.
So he'll probably hit 30 again this year. So here's another thing, though, to think about, guys. The 20-20 club, right? It's pretty impressive. How about the 40-40 club?
Even better. Amazing.
There's only one guy in the history of the game to do it. You know who that is, CD? 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases.
He's injured.
He's injured right now? Oh, Mike Trout.
No.
Oh.
Ronald Acuna
Ronald
Jr.
Acuna. Oh, Ronald did it last year.
I don't think Acuna went 40 and 40.
What did he do?
Oh, am I thinking of somebody different?
Yeah.
I would say not Ricky Henderson.
Jose Canseco.
Jose
Canseco had 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases, and I believe the only baseball player ever to do it. I could be wrong. Maybe Acuna did it, and I'm not aware of it. Maybe I'm living in the past with Jose, but I know Jose did do it.
Acuna did it last year.
Did it?
He had 68 stolen bases and 40 home runs.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, but still, Jose Canseco, that big moose, stole 40 bases.
He also had a ball hit his head and go over the wall.
Jose did. A guy named Barry Bonds has done it as well.
40-40?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, 96.
Probably pre
Well,
San Francisco Giants.
No, he was with the Giants.
Jose may not have been pre either. He might have been right smack dab in the middle of that.
Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Alfonso Soriano.
40-40. Not 40 home runs. 40 stolen bases, too.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong.
Oh, maybe not. Hold on. Let me see.
I think I'm 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Barry is a candidate for any record. You can probably put him down there.
All right, whatever. Either way, it's an impressive stat.
No.
Okay, coming up next year.
96. Barry did do it in 96.
Great.
Yeah.
Great baseball players. Great job.
Gentlemen, has Masyn Winn met our expectations, or has he exceeded them this year? We'll dive into that next year on 101 ESPN.
drive. That's wallop toward left. That ball is in the basket. A line drive homer for Masyn Winn. Woo. And the Cardinals are back in front here in the 7th inning. Holy cow.
Well, that was Masyn Winn last night against the Chicago Cubs. He hit that slam-a-lama ding-dong out there. And the question that we have today, and you can jump in here on the text line, that number is 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line. And, of course, the mic drop feature is open all day long. Go to the 101 ESPN app, leave some mic drop. For you guys, Masyn Winn, has he exceeded expectations or has he just met expectations so far this season?
Oh, exceeded. Without a doubt. I mean,
sounds silly to even ask that, right?
Yeah, because he's. I'm looking at the stats right now. He's the leader in hits for the team. He's the leader in average, second in OPS, second in stolen bases, second in runs scored. If I'd have told you last year that this young man would be leading the team in hits, you'd have looked at me like I was crazy. Because the expectation was for him to play stellar defense, which he has cut back on the errors. He has not made, those mistakes that he was making earlier in the season. And that comes with being a younger player, being a rookie. You're so talented. You feel like you can get to every ball and make every throw. And I think he started to figure out when to unleash the cannon and when to say, I'm just going to eat this one because I probably can't get this guy out. So the defense has been very good. The offense has been outstanding. So for me, the expectation of what we thought he was going to be the 9th hitter, batting 9th, and just playing great defense. This man is leading off. He's hitting with power from time to time. He's doing an outstanding job, and it's really fun to watch. I'm really happy for him because this was not the expectation coming into 2024.
Yeah, so that's where I go. If we go back, time warp, hot tub time machine, back to the end of last season when Masyn Winn got his cup of coffee. I think we are all in agreement that at that time we were like, you know what? Put him 9th, like you said. Whatever you get from him is gravy. All we care about is how good he is defensively. Now we've got the flip side of that. He's still great defensively, but offensively he has given you so much more than this is more than I thought he'd get, like maybe peak Masyn Winn.
Yeah.
Like 3 years from now. Yet he's delivering, and I mean, the way he's hitting the ball is surprising. He's hitting for some power, too. I think he's got, 7 or 8 home runs now. Yeah. I didn't see that coming. So
at all.
You couple that and what the outs above average. Like, this guy is a machine out there right now.
And I think there's more to come. Like, I think you'll see more opportunities for RBIs. I think, 8 home runs right now, and he's just really kind of figuring things out and getting in the groove. This might be a guy that can hit 12 to 15 or on a good year, 18 and maybe 20, which is added power, which you really did not expect whatsoever. So everything that he's doing has been outstanding. I think it's because of the expectations, because he's kind of meeting the what he was as a prospect. If I were to give him a grade, it would definitely be an A, probably A+, because he is doing.
It'd be an A+ based
because
on,
he is.
Yeah,
I'm a hard grader. Like it takes a lot to please me,
You're hard.
Yeah, I am always. So if he is doing an outstanding job thus far, and he's fun to watch. Like leadoff home runs, like just the things that he is doing. He's getting on base. He got thrown out today, but he's going to put pressure on opposing pitchers when he's on base, going first to third, if still in a base when he's on second. when he's on first. So he's doing everything you could ask for him. Him.
He is. And again, he went from batting 9th last year to batting leadoff this year. So last night, Masyn Winn was asked about his approach at bat, and here's what he had to say.
Especially early in the count, with 2 strikes, I might shorten it up. But I want to get my swing off up until the 2 strikes. I feel like a lot of times this year I'm in a 2-strike approach with no strikes, 1 strike, and it's really putting me in bad spots. So right now I'm just trying to get my A swing off, and then 2 strikes, go to work and battle. But yeah, if I could put a few more balls out of the ballpark, I think it really help this club.
Now Masyn Winn's not a big guy. What is he at 5'10", 180?
I think he might be 6 feet.
Well,
5'11". Okay, 5'11".
Is that
185?
Is that like true measurement, or are we doing with the hair too?
Probably.
He's got great hair.
I would say true measurement. That would be my guess.
Okay, still.
Once you get
about
up
185.
Yeah.
That's not a big guy.
No.
Usually those guys don't profile for power.
Mm-hmm.
So Masyn Winn, also a young guy. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger in a proper way. I think 10 to 15 home runs is not out of the question for him.
Right.
I think anything more would be unreal, but it's probably more of an anomaly than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want Masyn Winn to get caught up in this. Like, I love everything he had to say about the approach.
Right.
But I pause when he says, well, I've got a little more power too. Like, maybe I can hit some more. Like, no, just hit the ball, son. Just hit the ball. Because every now and then you're going to run into one, which you have, and now you've got 8 home runs.
Yeah.
He'll get 10 home runs guaranteed every year.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets to 15, great.
Right.
I don't need, and this is just my own personal opinion, my own thoughts. I don't need Masyn Winn trying to hit 20 home runs.
I don't think it'll get to the point where he's trying. Like I said, I think he's a 12 to 15 home run type of guy, but on a good year could get you 18 to 20. I don't think that'll be his standard. I don't think it's going to be an 18 to 20 home run type of guy every single year. But, once or twice in his career, if he plays for 12, 15 years, he probably could pop about, 18 to 20 of them a couple of times. Like that's what I envision him.
I'm getting confused, Carey.
Well, I think he has a very sound approach at the plate. Like you said, with 2 strikes, he is doing a good job of shortening up his swing and getting the ball in play. And he had a hit today. It barely made it in front of the catcher. I don't know what the Cubs catcher was doing. I don't know if he knew that Masyn Winn he maybe didn't study the scouting report, understand how fast he was.
Yeah.
But he finds a way to get on base, and that to me is a benefit to his hard work and his talent. He's an extremely talented young man, great speed. He does everything really well. So if he does find a way, maybe gets about 10 more pounds on him and finds a way to hit 18 to 20 home runs, you're not going to complain, Jamie.
I'm not going to complain unless he becomes like Colton Wong did here for the Cardinals. As my mic falls apart.
The mic for the rest of the
I'm just going to hold this for the rest of the segment. Thank goodness we don't have much left. But, Carey, do you remember a guy named Colton Wong?
I do remember Colton.
Colton Wong started to hit for some power.
He did.
And then he got confused.
Yeah. Yeah, he felt good about it.
He felt real good about it. He bulked up, too, and that got bigger.
He was a much smaller guy. Colton had to be 5'7", 5'8".
But he ended up getting all muscular, all big boy, and he was just trying to tickle seats.
5'7", 5'9".
I think you're underselling him.
Who, Colton?
Yeah.
You think he was about 5'5"? You think he's 5'10"?
He may have been 5'10".
I don't think Colton Wong was 5'10".
Well, either way, he was trying to tickle seats every time he was at bat. And it got to be where he wasn't hitting the ball at all.
That's not great.
No, not great. And Colton Wong.
5'7". Told you.
Where's Colton Wong play now?
He's on the roster.
He's with the
for LA
Dodgers.
Yeah. He's in the minors, probably.
I don't know if he's on the roster.
I don't think he's on the roster, guys.
5'7", 185. He was not a big fella.
But he got confused, Carey. I can't take myself seriously right now. Marshy,
you should be interviewing. You should be interviewing somebody. Yeah. You need to sing a song.
All right. You know what? I've had enough of this crap.
What the heck happened?
I don't know. It just fell off. Fell off. So, all right. Either way, I think we're all in agreement that Masyn Winn has exceeded expectations, and he is a real exciting player to watch out there. Buster Olney was on with BK and Ferrario earlier today, and Carey Davis was disturbed. He came into the office spitting fire. We'll tell you why next here on 101 ESPN. we said earlier, Buster Olney on the BK and Ferrario show, and he was asked about the Cardinals nationally, what the perception is of the Cardinals. Carey Davis did not like the answer. By the way, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here, the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey, what did you not like? Before we listen to Buster Olney, what did you not like?
I think sometimes the perception here in St. Louis may be different than the perception of the Cardinals nationally. Like we tend to view them with rose-colored glasses. So Buster was on with Alex and Tanner and those guys this morning, and Tanner asked him, how do the Cardinals stack up now after these moves? And this was his response.
Right, flat in the middle. This kind of says it all. Out of 30 teams in baseball in runs scored, they're 22nd. Out of 30 teams in baseball in earned run average, they're 18th. In defensive run saves, they're 11th. They're 16th and outs above average. So all of the metrics say they're flat out in the middle of the pack. And that's not necessarily something you go, yeah, well, that means that they're doomed and they can't make a dent in October if they get there. We saw last year with the Diamondbacks, they win 84 games and they wind up in the World Series. The Rangers, but, I mean, let's face it, they're probably going to need some guys to step up down the stretch.
Quit saying bad things. Try to cheer people up. We're listening to the radio trying to be cheered up.
Yeah.
Janet weighing in at the end there.
That to me, that's the frustrating part, because the national view of the Cardinals, right dead smack in the middle. Like, not good, not bad, just mid, just good enough, just bad enough. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't. That's how that feels to me. And so when I'm listening and watching the Cardinals, I wonder sometimes, do we watch it with rose-colored glasses? Like, we wear the red glasses. They are red. We are excited about our Cardinals, but do we view them in a way that nationally people that watch other teams as opposed to just watching the Cardinals for 162 games, are we viewing them incorrectly?
Well, are we?
I would like to think not, but when I look at this team, and this is part of the reason why people, CD is a hater. He doesn't like the Cardinals. He doesn't. It's just, meh. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not something like the game they played a couple of nights ago was so exciting to watch. When Tommy Pham came off the bench, hit a grand slam. Those are the moments that excite us as Cardinal fans. We haven't had a lot of those moments this season. And so my concern or my thought is, when this team, if this team makes it to the playoffs, are they, one and done, one series done and out of there? Because is what they've done thus far sustainable to have success and make a run through the playoffs? Is it good enough to get in the playoffs? Probably, but that's not because of what you're doing is so spectacular. It's because of what everyone else doing is kind of meh as well. And so you haven't, in my opinion, this team has not really separated itself from the pack just yet. The additions that they've made, I hope that helps. But nationally, when people are looking at this team, I think they view it in that way. Meh. It's not anything that you say, oh, they do this really, really well, or they do that really, really well. We know that these two players are going to be, when it's their opportunity, it's going to happen. That's why I think people around the country, when they look at the Cardinals, they're just like, maybe they're okay, maybe they're not.
So do you think it's a case of, let's see here, I think it's a case nationally where they don't see the Cardinals enough and they just look at the results and read the box score and go, meh? Or do you think because we see them on a daily basis and we see what they're capable of in certain times that we think more highly of the Cardinals?
Probably a little bit of both, but it's also probably because some of those other teams have the marquee player that you think about when you think of that team. If I say the Philadelphia Phillies, who you think of?
Bryce Harper.
Okay, if I say the Yankees, who do you think of?
Aaron Judge.
If I say the Dodgers, who do you think of?
Take your pick.
Pick one.
Honestly, all three of those teams you just mentioned, you could take your pick.
You could pick.
Yeah.
But if I say the Cardinals, Goldie was good a couple of years ago. He won it. Like, that's the conversation.
Who is the star right now for the Cardinals?
Don't do this.
No, I don't mean like that. Not like superstar. We're not doing that whole discussion. But
who's the name?
Probably Masyn.
You're the visiting team. You're rolling into St. Louis. Who do you have to circle on the lineup?
Well, I think that's a different story.
I think that is different.
Asking.
No, I think that's different than a fan watching. Because if I'm
okay,
I don't know.
So you're flipping through the channels.
Probably Masyn
You see
Winn.
the Cardinals game is on. What player are you wanting to see?
Masyn Winn.
Okay.
I think.
Well, that's our perspective, right? I don't know if enough people give Masyn Winn the credit nationally.
But who else would you? Who else would it be?
It's probably between Goldschmidt, Arenado. I'd throw Contreras in there, and probably Ryan Helsley. Now that he's that he was an All-Star this year.
Ryan Helsley is going to play in the 9th inning, and that's it. So if you're just getting, you're not.
But what does that say though?
That's a problem, in my opinion. Like, I think that it's for me, if I were, and I don't know, but I think people want to see Masyn Winn. He's young. He's a guy that is, again, leading the team in hits. He's one of the better players on this team. I can't say best player just yet, but one of the better players on this team. But I don't know if anyone else leads you to believe, like, makes you want to tune in to a Cardinals game if you're not a Cardinal fan. Like, I will watch a Dodgers game. Did a couple of nights. Shohei, I got to see what he's going to do. I will watch a Yankees game. I want to see Aaron Judge. I want to see Juan Soto. I want to see those guys. Even if you said only 4 times, I want to see them take a bat. But I don't know if there's anyone for this Cardinals team nationally that people want to tune in to watch.
So can that fall into the category as to why someone like Buster Olney says what he says?
Probably. I mean, possibly.
Because he's watching games on a nightly basis. These guys, they have to know about every team, every game that's going on. He's probably looking at the lineup of games, looking at the Cardinals game, like, yeah, I'm going to watch the Dodgers. Yeah, I'll watch the Yankees, the Phillies,
and
the
I'll
Braves.
catch the highlights of the Cardinals versus Cubs.
I'll read the stats later, and I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that plays a part in it? Because the Cardinals right now don't have a superstar player.
They're a boring team.
But that's on that.
I would disagree with that.
That's on the players. Because you, as a player, your entertainment. Like, your job is to give people something that they want to watch.
True.
Like, a couple of years ago, you wanted to watch Albert because of what he was doing. You wanted to watch Goldie because he was having an MVP year. You wanted to watch Arenado because he was also having an MVP year and a Gold Glove year. Like, he was making some spectacular plays, and like plays that you don't normally see from third baseman. Like, that's must-see TV. 2022, you definitely were tuning in to watch those players play. Right now, it doesn't feel, and last year we just almost wiped that from the record books. 2024, it's kind of the same mentality.
So here's where nationally and regionally it's different. Nationally, they're probably not turning the game on. They're kind of reading the stats, right? Watching the highlights. Regionally, locally here, I'm going to be honest. I'm watching the games now. I love to watch Masyn Winn, Wilson Contreras, and Tommy Pham. Those are my guys.
But you watch them every day.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, those are my guys. Like, those are the guys that I'm not turning it on to watch Goldie or Arenado at bats anymore. Used to stop and watch them because I was like, oh, well.
Got to see.
There's a chance here we might get a home run or something cool here. I'm not worried about that anymore. Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, I like Burley too. I should put him in that category as well. But when those other guys are playing, and I know Tommy Pham just got here, but he's been exciting since he's gotten here. He's 0 for 3 today, which kind of stinks, but he did hit a rope that just about cleared the outfielder's head. He just caught it at the last second. But those are the guys that excite me when I'm watching Cardinals baseball. What about you guys?
I think Masyn Winn, like, I'll stop what I'm doing to watch Masyn Winn. I don't care if he's 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 on the day. Like, I want to watch what he does. And when he comes up to the plate and there's a runner in scoring position or there's a runner on base, like, I have a feeling that he could do something. I have that just the idea of him being up there and having an opportunity to do something great. I feel like he can come through.
Right.
There's a few other players that I feel like could do that. Brendan Donovan gives me that. I love him, like, just as a baseball player. Like, he is a baseball player. Just he's not a superstar by any means. He's a baseball player. Alec Burleson, as of late, obviously we had a whole conversation multiple days about that. Like, he's one guy that I think could at least make contact and put the ball in play, and you never know what could happen. I think from a national perspective, though, when I say this team is boring, they just the two dudes that are your pillars in your organization, they're older. They're not doing what they used to do. And so if I'm a fan of another team and I'm watching all these games, I'm probably not going to turn on the Cardinal game because there's no one that really excites me. No one's talking about these players. If Masyn Winn played on a different team in a different market, he'd probably be more popular than he is right now. I think
that says a lot because you're in St. Louis with the best fans in baseball, one of the, I don't know, top 3 to 5 organizations that you think about when you talk about.
But no one cares
Major
about
League
St.
Baseball.
Louis outside of people in St. Louis.
I think that's when they're not good.
Like sports wise.
I think that's when they're not good.
And when they are good, they hate them. And we talked about
it's okay
that.
to be hated.
100%.
As long as you're talking about us.
But to the point though, this team is so middling, they're boring.
Nobody hates us.
No one
now.
cares. No one cares. And so that's just kind of how I look at this right now, that this team doesn't get me excited. Like the Pirates. I highly doubt people are tuning into Pirates games unless Paul Skeens is on the mound. That's it.
I agree. I think Pittsburgh Pirates fans are tuning in because they do have a pretty exciting team.
Right. But I don't think anyone outside of those markets are tuning in like we are tuning in to watch the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Braves. Just because we like baseball, we like watching really good baseball. And it sucks that it's coming from a different team. But those teams have stars, and we want to see what they do. I just don't feel like the Cardinals have that right now.
Well,
that doesn't mean they won't in the next 5 years.
But, Marsha, here's the problem. They don't. You're 100% right. They thought they did. Arenado and Goldie were not supposed to be doing what they're doing this year.
They were supposed to be a year away from this.
Well, I don't even know about that.
It was the hope was it would be, but then they would have re-signed him, which they still may do. They would have re-signed him if he had an outstanding year this year, which is still a possibility.
Fine. But for me right now, the contract and the money and all that, let's just put that aside. Arenado and Goldie are supposed to be the two guys that you turn the channel on to watch.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be. They're not. Mm-hmm. This is why the Cardinals are not winning their division right now. Mm-hmm. It's flat out because their superstars are not superstars this year. In fact, their superstars are average. Mm-hmm. That's the problem right now.
I think people in general, when it comes to sports, they want to watch a good product. And that's why you'll see people that will go and watch other teams because it's a good product. I don't care if it's baseball, hockey, football. Football's a little different because you can watch essentially all of them.
Yeah.
And they're on 3 days out of the week. 4 now. You had Saturdays
soon
and whatnot,
5.
but soon 5. Actually, no. Yeah, they're playing games on Friday now.
It'll be 7 here shortly.
But every day. Even basketball, like I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I'll tune in to watch the Stars because I want to see a good product.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe the Cardinals are producing that right now to be nationally viewed as one of the better teams in baseball, and the numbers bear it out.
Yeah, you're right. Well, look, I want to stick on this superstars discussion. We're going to change the direction a little bit. I want the listeners to get involved here as well. The Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, or leave us a mic drop on the 101 ESPN mobile app. And here's what I want to ask you guys. Has Mike Trout been the most disappointing superstar in sports? So a guy that is an absolute stud, but just falls short because of injuries and things like that, or who knows what else. We want to see what you guys have to say on the text line. If you have a great mic drop, leave it for us. We'll play it. But coming up next, has Mike Trout been the most disappointing superstar in sports right here on 101 ESPN? here to the Fast Lane, 101 ESPN. It was announced, I believe, yesterday that Mike Trout.
Did your mic fall again?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's breaking every 10 minutes.
No, that's on par with our segment.
Yeah, it's great. So Mike Trout will be out for the remainder of this season. And Marshy, I know you have the numbers over there of games he's played or games he's missed. Can you give me a little update?
Yeah, so this is actually between 2021 and 2024 from Talkin' Baseball. Mike Trout only played in 266 of the Angels' 648 games between the 2021 season and 2024, an average of 66 and a half games per season. In those games he played, he had an OPS of 951 with 76 home runs. That's a 46 home run per 162 game pace. So pretty damn good numbers there. The problem is the guy can't stay healthy.
No.
And we've seen him in the postseason one time.
So, CD, your thoughts on Mike Trout here? Is he the most disappointing superstar ever in sports?
Just based on
the
injuries,
fact that, yes.
and because I would have to say yes, because I don't know if there's another player that I could name that is an MVP and the caliber of player that he is. He when he's healthy, he's outstanding. Now maybe you want to name like a Bo Jackson, or we were going over some names. You mentioned Greg Oden, but I think that was more so the expectation as opposed to
wasn't
the actual
he a first
play.
Overall pick?
He was, but couldn't stay healthy. Was dealing with some knee issues his entire career. But any of the guys that we name are not going to be a multi-MVP player. Like Mike Trout has won it 3 times. I think finished second a few times as well. Like he is finished second once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Finished second 4 times. Like you're not going to find a player, and to say that that's disappointing is almost crazy. But with the numbers that Marshy just ran off, like yeah, because it's so many injuries and it's so many missed opportunities to make the playoffs and see him in October, and to see the best player in the world. Like if I'm not mistaken, the biggest moment last 2 years ago, was it last year? The World Baseball Classic was last year.
Yes.
When Shohei faced Mike Trout.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was like the clash of the Titans, the 2 best players in the world going against each other. At the time, they're teammates, but you don't get to see that in the playoffs. Like you can't, you don't get to have that moment in the playoffs. So for me, Mike Trout is probably, and it sounds crazy because he's got 3 dang on MVPs, but yeah, who else would be more disappointing?
Well, we have a couple on the text line, and I'll defer to you, CD, on this one. Derrick Rose.
Oh, Derrick Rose is a good one. Mm-hmm. That now, Derrick Rose is a good one because he also won an MVP, if I'm not mistaken, and his knee injuries. He was one of the most explosive players, especially for his size, that I think I've ever seen.
We got one from the Air Comfort Service text line 314. Actually, 2 right here. Most disappointing was Bo Jackson, not being able to see him longer. And this one, to me, we didn't think of this when we were coming up with this segment in the office, but Andrew Luck.
Oh,
that's a really good one.
Well.
That might be a better answer than Mike Trout.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
It might be because he the expectations again, but
Mike Trout's a 3-time MVP.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Andrew Luck was a very good quarterback.
He was.
He wasn't even the best in the league when he was out with injuries.
He did not win an MVP.
If you're not the best in the league at that point, are you? I mean, he was a star.
He had the opportunity, though, to be a top 5 quarterback if he continued to be healthy.
But he was dealing with so many, lacerated spleen. They were trying to get him. They weren't trying to get him killed, but they weren't trying to keep him healthy either.
Yeah.
No.
Like, he was dealing with some stuff and getting tore up every single game. He, at one point, had more sacks than anybody in the league. Like, been sacked more times than anyone in the league. Let me correct myself for Jamie here. But
I was going to congratulate him.
We did get a hockey one on the text line. And, Jamie, you'd probably know a lot about this, but from the 314, what about Eric Lindros?
Yeah, Big E, he suffered
with concussions.
Yeah. But see, the game was different, first of all. But Eric Lindros, who was, I remember playing against him when I was 15 years old. He was 6'4", 220. It's unbelievable. This guy was a monster. But he went to the NHL, and he played in the NHL the same way he played junior hockey and minor hockey. He thought he was the biggest, strongest kid in the yard. Mm-hmm. Hey, guess what, kid? You're not.
Right.
Even though you're 6'4", 230, there's other guys out there that are men. And Eric played with his head down a lot because he never had to worry. This is a smaller kid.
Bigger than everybody.
Smaller kids growing up, junior hockey, guys bounced off of them. Like, you know what I mean? But then when you got guys like Scott Stevens lining you up and you get your head down, you're going to have a short career. And Eric Lindros had happened. He had suffered multiple concussions. He had to retire. But he was a force, man. At one point, that Legion of Doom line that he played on in Philly, I know it because I played against him every single game when the Islanders played the Flyers. Those guys were a lot to handle.
Right.
He's a good one, for sure.
We get a text from 618, and I'm sure there is a little confusion to this question. How is a 3-time MVP disappointing? What are you guys disappointed in? I'm confused.
We're disappointed that his career has been so marred with injuries and that we might never get to see Mike Trout play again, or at least never play again healthy.
Or on the biggest stage.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Like, how many we've seen him play one time in the postseason back in 2014?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And he's played in
over 10 years ago.
Played in a terrible team, a terrible market, no publicity, no nothing, no chance of a friggin' World Series. But here's a couple more here that I think are interesting. What about CD? Michael Vick. Different reasons.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Different reasons.
Probably Hall of Fame talent.
Probably?
Like, I mean, yeah, more than likely a Hall of Famer, if not for, the issues that
we're not judging
into.
what happened.
Right.
He's already served his time, all that stuff. I don't care to debate what happened. I'm talking about the player on the field.
I would probably say, like that because of issues that were in his control, but just issues that arose in his career. Yeah, I would say he's definitely on that. Normally I think of guys that got injured. But
I know but we did preface it by saying injured or otherwise.
Yeah, Mike Vick is definitely a good one.
And I got another one for you. And now this was going to seem weird. I'm going to have to explain it. Tiger Woods. And let me explain. Let me explain. Hang on.
Okay.
He has, so many championships, so many majors, all that stuff. How many more would he have had it not been for some off-the-course things and injuries now?
Yeah.
A car accident, and not the one where he got hit with the golf club.
Yeah, all that stuff started happening after.
But it doesn't matter. What would his career have looked like? Because right now he's absolutely going to fall short of Jack Nicklaus's record for most majors won. When, by the way,
and rounds in the U.S. Open of 469.
But what could Tiger Woods' career have looked like had he stayed on the same path, no injuries, no off-the-course stuff going on?
Probably surpass everything and everyone. Jack Nicklaus's record probably wouldn't stand a chance. And I agree with the texter. Like, how are we saying that Mike Trout is a disappointment? But in the scope of what we're saying, like how much better or how much more, like Mike Trout could have going down as the greatest baseball player to play the game. Like along if he wins a few more of those MVPs where he finishes second, if he stays healthy, if he has the playoff success that some of the other greats have had, win a championship or 2 or 3, like you're looking at one of the greatest baseball players. But now it will always be he was one of the greatest, but he was always injured. Which again, it sounds crazy to even have that conversation.
We have another hockey one that will need some explanation, of course, a little bit along the Tiger Woods conversation, but Mario Lemieux. And Mario Lemieux, he missed a whole season for a back injury. He missed another extended period of time because he had Hodgkin's disease, whatever they call it, non-lymphoma.
Non-lymphoma,
Hodgkin's disease. He missed a whole season, CD. Came back the next year and scored like 2 points a game.
Didn't he win the MVP?
He did win the MVP. Then another time he left and came back, like he retired for a year and then decided he wanted to come back and play.
Yeah.
And his first game scored 2 goals. And then went on to average like 2.5 points a game for the rest of the season.
That's ridiculous.
So had he not been, injured and certainly not had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, or whatever you say it.
Right.
He would have challenged for certain Gretzky records. He wouldn't have gotten the total points. I don't think anybody's touching that ever in the history of the game. But what could have been for an already superstar career?
I didn't mean to cut you off. We got a few names: Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, because they both retired early.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember Freddie Adu?
Yeah.
Yes. The soccer player? Yeah.
He was the next Pele.
He was. He was like 16 playing like the English Premier League.
He was supposed to be the next greatest soccer player ever.
What happened to him?
I don't know.
The question is almost like what could have been if said thing did not happen to said player.
Right.
In that, there's disappointment.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. And again, this is with explanation, but Simone Biles. She missed all of last Olympics, and she's already the most decorated U.S. Olympian, I think, ever, or U.S. gymnast ever.
What was it called? The flipsies? What was the term where she was getting dizzy because she was flipping so much?
It ended up being like anxiety. I think that's what I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but tough road. But anyways, it's always an interesting conversation. We wish Mike Trout the twisties. Yeah, I've had those. We wish Mike Trout nothing but the best in his recovery, and hopefully he's back soon. We're going to dive into a little bit of Blues talk here. So get in on that Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We've got Blues Cues next here on 101 ESPN.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals are on the verge of losing their second straight game to the Chicago Cubs as they trail 5-1 in the top of the 8th inning. We'll continue giving you updates throughout the remainder of the game, and we'll recap this game later in the show, so stay tuned for that. But we have our Blues Cues coming up next, so if you have any questions you want to ask us here in the off-season, make sure you do so using the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Blues Cues are coming your way next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So using the Air Comfort Service.
Welcome back here to the Fast Lane, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers with you here. Well, we told you to get on the text line, 314-399-9646. If you have any Blues-related questions, now is the time to do it. Marshy, what do we got?
All right, let's go to the 314. Are Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer the best goalie tandem in the NHL?
Wow, they've got to be close. I mean, the only tandem that I know that was clear-cut better was Ullmark and Swayman. In Boston, I'd have a hard time. Marshy, maybe you can jar my brain a little bit here. I'm trying to go through the teams, but I don't know of many teams that have the 1A, 1B like the Blues do now.
I don't think so, and obviously those guys aren't together anymore, so I think you got to throw the Blues up there. I really can't think of another team that has a great 1-2 punch, and I only think Joel Hofer is going to get better. I mean, hell, he's so young. I think he, with more playing time, being confident the way that he was last year, the guy makes some 10-bell saves. Mm-hmm. If they're not number one, they're at least in the top 5, and I don't think that's a debate.
Yeah, I'm looking at most of the rosters here, and I don't see a 1-2 punch like the Blues have. I mean, Winnipeg with Hellebuck, but then, the backup's not Joel Hofer. I think the Blues are in first place on this one. So now to play better team defense around them overall, and you're probably going to win a lot more hockey games, but that's a good question.
We get one from the Frito Man. Is there a move the Blues can make with the blue line with the $7 million cap space?
Not really. I mean, there's not a guy out there that's just available to sign. You'd have to somehow figure out a trade, but if you're figuring out a trade, you got to trade a guy who wants to be traded. Mm-hmm. And I know that people are already assuming that Torrey Krug's not going to play this year, but that 6 to 8 week span before reevaluation is not over yet. So I think that'd be at the end of the month of August. Then with that extra money, is there opportunity? Yeah, I think there's opportunity, but I don't know if there's like a game breaker that you're going to be getting out there, especially at the beginning of the season, because most teams who have a game breaker type defenseman, they're not giving them away.
Letting them go?
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So of the prospects, the younger players who have not cracked the roster or have played a few games, so not Neighbors, we won't put him on this list. He's solidified in what he's done so far. Snuggerud, Dvorsky, Stenberg, Dean, Bolduc, and Lindstein. Which one of them has the highest upside and the potential to be a superstar, if any, in the NHL?
I'm going to go off the board a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Lindstein. I'm watching him at prospect camp. Now, mind you, it's prospect camp.
Right.
He's playing against a bunch of kids that are his own age, in and around that. But just his poise with the puck, his skating ability, the way he sees the ice, his movements in the offensive zone. Like, he reminds me of, I don't want to say Cale Makar, because that's a stretch. That's a stretch. It's hard. He possesses a lot of the same qualities as a Cale Makar. Now, will he put it all together and play like that? Like, who knows? Right. But he certainly has the ability. Dalibor Dvorsky is another one because he's really good all around. He can score. He can play make. He's good defensively. So those would be my two front runners for like best careers out of all these guys. Jimmy Snuggerud, it's tough to tell what he profiles to be at the National Hockey League level. Good goal scorer in college, but does it move? Does it translate to the NHL? I don't know. But those two other guys are my first and second pick.
Okay.
The 314 wanted to remind us that Thatcher Demko and now the goaltender Arthur Shelovs, who looked pretty good in the playoffs, could be up there as well.
They are. They're probably in the top 4 or so. But Arthur's Shelovs, he was their third or fourth goalie last year. And he stepped up, played pretty good in the playoffs-ish. He still had under a 900 save percentage in the playoffs, which isn't good. So I would take Joel Hofer over him.
From the 618, you can choose one current Blues player to lock up until their retirement. Do you choose a younger player so you get 10-plus years, or a proven talent like Pavel Buchnevich?
A guy I can lock up for 10-plus years?
Till their retirement.
Till they're retired? Robert Thomas. On this team right now, it's Robert Thomas. Just because I think he's going to be every bit as good, if not better, than Ryan O'Reilly when all is said and done. I think that he can become close defensively, but offensively, I think he can outkick Ryan O'Reilly. So, for me, Robert Thomas.
From the 314, Jamie and Marshy, with or without Torrey Krug healthy, do we still see Matthew Kessel getting minutes on the blue line? I thought he looked impressive when he played.
Expect Kessel to be pretty much an everyday NHLer next year. You've got 3 right-handed shot defensemen right now. It's Parayko, Falk, and Kessel. And I know that Drew Bannister and Doug Armstrong, they do like the lefty-righty combos. They're not big fans of righty-righty together or lefty-lefty together.
Why is that?
So, CD, what's interesting about it is I played both sides depending on whatever the team needed. Right? Never said a word. But when you play your strong side, which is your left side, I'm a left-handed defenseman. If I play the left side, in a transition game, when my partner passes the puck to me and I look up the ice, I can see the entire ice in front of me. And I can make a play, make a pass, or I can skate it, whatever. When I'm playing on the opposite side, so you look at my body's turning, I'm facing here, I get the pass from my partner, I have to turn my whole body to get the view of the ice.
Gotcha.
So, and I have got blind spots right near my right shoulder and behind it. So if there's a forechecker in the neutral zone that's coming down to get the puck, I can't see him.
Gotcha.
So I have to try and turn my body to see the entire ice surface. And when I do that, I'm taking up time. I'm taking up time on that
to get the puck moving.
Yeah, then the guy could be on me. Then I've got to then maybe I have to make a crappy play because there's too much pressure, and I'm just putting the puck to what I feel is a non-dangerous area. But still, it could be a turnover because ultimately the other team gets the puck.
Gotcha.
So it's easier to play your strong side in transition. Defensively, it used to be easier to play the offside because you could just give the guy down the boards and then just pitchfork him. Can't do that anymore. It's a little more difficult.
Okay.
But in the offensive zone, when you're playing on the blue line, and let's say the other team tries to hard rim the puck around, it's easy to get over to the wall, seal off the wall, take the puck off the wall, make a play.
Gotcha.
The other side, you're on your backhand, and when you're on your backhand, now you got your eyes are not facing the play.
It makes life easier for you.
Correct.
You don't know that. Okay. Yeah.
From the 636, with Krug and Falk and their no trades, and it being clear that it could be clear that they're holding the team back, doesn't the team or fans start to see that as selfish, that they could be inhibiting everyone's success? Yes, that's their right, but if they are hurting the team and not wanting, why stay?
So here's my problem with, not a problem, here's my thought with a question like that. The front office gave a full no-trade clause to both players. Why? You can't give a player the no-trade clause and then bully him into using not
changing his mind.
So it'd be like a player saying, I'm going to sign a 2-year deal with you, and then after the first year saying, well, I'm not going to play until you give me 3 more.
Yeah.
But no, that you signed a contract. You have to honor the contract. That's why they have them, so that both sides of the agreement are in agreement that this is the contract we're going to sign. They sign it, and those are the terms of said contract. So I don't begrudge a guy for not wanting to waive his no-trade clause. Think about it, Marshy. Think about this for a second, okay? And this blows my mind when it comes to Torrey Krug. Vladimir Tarasenko wanted out of St. Louis, publicly out. I want trade me. And people are like, no, don't trade Vladdy. No, he's our guy. Man. Then Torrey Krug signs with the Blues, wants to be a Blue so much that he says, I want a full no-trade clause. Mm-hmm. Then Army tries to trade him. He says, no, I want to be a St. Louis Blue. Well, what a son of a... hey, he won't waive his no-trade? What? How dare he want to be here? Like, you cannot
How dare you care about you?
Yeah, how dare you want to wear the blue note?
I completely understand your line of thinking. I 100% agree with it. I could also see some fans looking at Vladimir Tarasenko and being like, this guy's been with us forever. He's been a Blue.
But he doesn't want to be here.
He doesn't want to be here.
It's like the girlfriend that wants to leave and you're begging her to stay. You already know the relationship's over.
Yeah, and then she put up 80 points.
Yeah. Well, she does that. She does that to you right before she leaves, so that you're still trying to call her a year later. You know what I mean, Carey?
I get it though. Let's do one more here.
All right.
From the 910. Did you guys see the fish that Nick Leddy caught? Like a 10-foot sturgeon.
Unbelievable. First of all, Nick Leddy, by the way, one of the nicest guys in the world.
Really?
Just a good dude. Super quiet though.
Really?
Like him and I together, it's like polar opposites. He's super quiet, great teammate, great dude to talk to on the road. He likes the outdoors. Obviously, he does this fishing trip, I believe, every year with his dad. They go up to like northern British Columbia where they've got these sturgeons that are like dinosaurs, basically. He got a 10-foot, 3-inch sturgeon. That thing's massive. Looks like a shark. So good for Nick Leddy. I know that it's a great time for him and his dad. They get up there and do some bonding, and he reeled in a big one, a trophy fish, and they got lots of pictures of it all over the Blues social media. So good on him. He's a great dude, a great teammate. All right, that was Blues Q's. We appreciate all of your questions to the Air Comfort Service text line. We're going to get into some football next, and we want to know which NFL team in the 21st century would you have liked to see on Hard Knocks? Any team in the 21st century, and it could be for any reason, too. Text us, 314-399-9646. We'll get into that next here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Wrestling here on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers with you here. And right before the break, we teased Hard Knocks has been quite a thing here. We've had preseason Hard Knocks, in-season Hard Knocks. They get in behind the scenes and film everything to do with the teams. And so our guy Marshy, who's a big Hard Knocks fan, by the way, Marshy, props to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just got done watching the off-season Hard Knocks, which was really interesting with the New York Giants. You get a little behind the scenes of, what goes on within a football team. And obviously we watch the games. Carey, you played in the NFL, but you get to see how front offices basically create a team. It's pretty cool. And now the Bears, who played in the Hall of Fame game last night, they will be on the preseason Hard Knocks. I'm excited to see that. We get to see what Caleb Williams is all about. So I think it's going to be exciting.
So Marshy's question to all of us was, which NFL team in the 21st century would you have liked to see on Hard Knocks? Carey, you got a team?
I was looking at this. I mean, obviously, I would, our team that won the Super Bowl was a really good team. We had a really good defense. But
if you say the 2008 Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't know if I can handle that.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to surprise you all with one, because this is going to be like the preseason leading up to the how much the preseason leading up to the season.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the 2015 Seattle Seahawks.
Oh.
This is the year after they lost in the Super Bowl when they didn't run the ball. I would want to know how that season, what is the mindset? Because that's when everything, the Legion of Boom, was it Doom or Boom?
They were also the Legion of Boom.
Legion of Boom. Was it Boom or Doom?
Yeah, it was Boom.
Legion of Boom.
Got caught in the hotel room too.
How they started, they started breaking up, and Russell started to get his money. I would want to know how that all played out when they don't run the ball. I would like to see a documentary about that whole thing and that moment and what took place after that.
Well, we got a lot of suggestions here. We'll get into those in a second. There are a lot of teams I think that are interesting. I said to you guys in the break, if we're going back a little further, I'd go back to the 85 Bears. That Chicago Bears team with Jim McMahon as the quarterback, Walter Payton. They had quite a bit of personality on that team. Steve McMichael was a serious personality. Richard Dent. Mike Singletary. They had some dudes.
Yeah.
And I remember during that season, that one point in one game. And by the way, the Bears were running away with that season. I think they lost one game that year.
Yes.
Went on to bury the Patriots in the Super Bowl final.
They did.
But there was a game where Mike Ditka ended up in a fist fight with Buddy Ryan. So his defensive coordinator and the head coach in a fist fight, Marshy, in the middle of the game.
Oh, I believe it. I saw it in Kicking and Screaming.
Yes, that's a good point. Good point of reference. All right, we get a bunch here on the text line. Let's go through this. We get one from Reed. Marshy, were your 2022-2023 Minnesota Vikings, were they worthy of some Hard Knocks?
Maybe because of the whole Kirk Cousins contract situation heading into the season. You get a new defensive coordinator. Actually, no, that would have been 2 years ago. So maybe, maybe. I don't know.
All right. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I love the Vikings, but I don't know if they would have been worthy of Hard Knocks. Granted, I don't know which teams are worthy of a Hard Knocks unless they have some drama, like the Jets last year. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. How does that work in the preseason? I want to see that. Caleb Williams, #1 draft pick. What does that look like for the Bears in the preseason? I want to see that. In-season Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins with this high-flying offense. I want to see what is going on behind the scenes with that. I don't know if I necessarily would say that for the Vikings in that specific year, but it would be cool as a Viking fan to see that.
So the one that I circle is the preseason / training camp for the Green Bay Packers after they picked Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
I would love to see, because remember
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre said it's not my job to get him ready for the NFL.
Yeah.
And there were some things that were said.
Yep.
And I think that would have been intriguing to watch their quarterback meetings, their quarterback reps when they do their, the practices and stuff. like how much interaction was there.
Right. I'm trying to remember the year. I don't know if it was the year they went to the Super Bowl or the year after, but the Philadelphia Eagles, when Terrell Owens was working out in his driveway, and he had the contract dispute, and he didn't want to be there. I think he got
Mr. Push-Ups.
Yeah. I don't remember. But if it was the year they went to the Super Bowl, that would be spectacular. But I think it was the year after they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl where he was looking for a new contract or some of that.
Oh, he was doing something.
Yeah.
We get a great text here, and I didn't think about this. Now, it's slightly before, but we'll honor this. From the 314 says, if we can go back a little further, that it has to be the 99 Rams.
Yeah, for sure.
Trent Green goes down in preseason. Unknown Kurt Warner takes over. The team is the best story ever. It would have been a great Hard Knocks. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen, like Dick Vermeil goes on to act like, oh, he knew all the time it was Kurt Warner. Like, well, that was the guy. He was just, I would have loved to see behind the scenes when Trent Green goes down, the very next meeting where the coaches are all by themselves and they're like, holy blank.
Crap.
We got to rely on this Kurt Warner guy? Or were they like, hey, man, I think Kurt Warner's got this?
Yeah. How that conversation went.
Yeah. And like the
Be
weeks
interesting.
of practice and all, like, are they believing in him? Like after every practice when they have their coaches meetings, like the roundup of like, how did today go? Your department.
Right.
Hey, quarterbacks coach. How's that arena football guy doing?
Well, even like a team like that, and I wish they did this with these preseason teams, is to see how the season ends, right? You get to see, okay, this is what they put in at the beginning of training camp. It's led up to the season. You, as the viewer, watch the games, so you know what's going on. And then at the end of the season, you get sort of like a finish, because there's really no payoff to these preseason Hard Knocks. There's no payoff to it.
The Miami Dolphins did. I can't. I told you I have trauma watching the preseason one. I can watch the in-season one, but the traumatic experience of seeing guys being cut is too much like real life for me, Jamie.
It's home,
I won't watch it. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
I've been in that meeting.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I'm okay. Start panicking and sweating.
Get your playbook. Oh, that sounds fun.
But the Miami Dolphins did theirs in season last year, which I thought was really good.
It was,
because you got to see Mike McDaniel and his quirkiness, and the team meetings and the conversations that he would have, and if it was a terrible, game, how he went about his business. I think that's the things. Those are the things that fans enjoy, kind of being taken behind the curtain and seeing what's going on.
What about the Tennessee Titans? We get a little text here. Tennessee Titans following the loss to the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like, if that was in season, where you're like, you get to capture
how does it,
all of that.
How does it play out?
How does it play out?
What is the conversation like?
Or even the Seahawks, like you said, the year where they throw the pass and Malcolm Butler intercepts it. Like, what's the aftermath?
The aftermath is what you want to know. Like, how does this all play out? What's the fallout from it?
Well, it certainly is intriguing. I, for one, I'm a huge fan of all of these behind-the-scenes documentaries / series, quarterbacks, receivers.
I think they've changed sports.
They have, and it's smart, too. Peel back the curtain a little bit. The NHL is finally going to do it this year. Amazon has got that whole series where they're following around multiple players in the NHL. I think that will open up a lot of different marketing opportunities for players in the NHL, as well as teams. Now that Amazon, too, is getting into the televising game, they're going to have, 11 or 12 games that they're going to do up in Canada. Who knows where that ends up down in the United States. So, anyways, it's always good to get behind the scenes and see what's going on. And let us donkeys talk about it, too. Anyways, the Gauntlet. Next, we got our guy Joe, right? Joe's back again. He's going to get random again, as we know. And it'll be against Marshy or I today. So, Marshy, hopefully we can brush up on our random before we bring Joe on here. And that's coming up next on 101 ESPN.
4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the Gauntlet?
Time is 4:01 here in the fast lane. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. It's time for the Gauntlet. We head out to our 101 ESPN hotline. Welcome in our guy Joe, who's won 2 rounds out of a possible 4. Joe, how we doing today, bud?
Feeling pretty good.
All right, buddy. Who are you picking today before we do random?
Me and you, Jamie. Let's do it.
Oh! All right, Joe. Good luck, my man.
All right. Jamie is heading out to the Cone of Silence. Joe, you've done this time and time again. Beat myself and Anthony in random. Tell Marcy to spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Joe, you remember the rules. You get it right with no options, 2 points. You get it right with the options, 1 point. And if you get it wrong, you get 0 points. And your... What do we got, Marshy?
We have hockey today. It was football, I know, and then last second it ended up being hockey.
Well, you know what? It depends on the questions. We always say that some things are in Jamie's wheelhouse. Hockey, obviously, one of those things, but...
I think I said March, didn't I?
Nice try. All right, here we go. Hockey.
All right.
Which Blues defenseman led the team in plus-minus last season?
Oh. Let's see. I guess I'll just go with Parayko.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Question number 2. Last season, the Blues had 5 hat tricks throughout the season. 2 from Pavel Buchnevich, 2 from Jordan Kyrou, and 1 from which other player?
3 hat tricks. 2 by Buchnevich and by Kyrou and Buchnevich, and you need a third?
Yep, so 2 from Buchnevich, 2 from Kyrou, and then who was the other player?
I guess for the sake of time, just give me the options.
Options are Robert Thomas, Braden Shen, or Brandon Saad.
I think Sauter.
Saad?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Question number 3. Zachary Bullduk scored his first NHL goal last season in a 6-1 loss on the road against which team?
Oh, wow. Options.
Is it the Anaheim Ducks, the Detroit Red Wings, or the New Jersey Devils?
I'll go with the Wings.
Final answer?
Final answer? Yes.
Question number 4. The Blues played 2 games against the Florida Panthers and 3 games against the Oilers last season. Against these 2 Stanley Cup finalists last year, how many games did the Blues win?
So it's 5 total games?
5 total games.
Let's go with 4.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right.
Let's get Jamie back in here. Joe, how you feel?
Not well. Very not well.
Not well, okay. Sorry to hear that. I mean, things change. Hopefully, you feel better after this.
All right, so random, right?
Yes, Jamie, random again.
Okay, let's go.
Jamie, pack a lunch.
Okay.
It's hockey.
Oh, it's hockey. Oh. Okay, Joe, we're going to see what you're made of now.
All right, Jamie, ready?
Yeah, sure.
Which Blues defenseman led the team in plus-minus last season?
The same guy who just caught a massive fish. Nick Leddy, final answer, please.
Question number 2. Last season, the Blues had 5 hat tricks throughout the season. 2 from Pavel Buchnevich, 2 from Jordan Kyrou, and 1 from which other player?
I was hoping you're going to say 1 from Pavel Buchnevich and 2 from another player, because that would have been good. That would have been easy. Hat trick, yeah? Let's narrow it down.
Is it Robert Thomas, Braden Shen, or Brandon Saad?
So I don't think it's Saad. I can't remember. I think there was a time where John Kelly and I were talking about Robert Thomas has not scored a hat trick in the NHL yet, but then I feel like maybe he got one. I'll go with Robert Thomas. Final answer, please.
Question number 3. Zachary Bolduc scored his first NHL goal Zachary Bolduc scored his first career NHL goal last season in a 6-1 loss on the road against which team?
Oh, yeah, that was the boys from Motown, I believe. Or was it? I know he got throttled twice by the Red Wings. The first one cost Craig Berube his job. Second one was a game we weren't broadcasting. I think Zach Bolduc. I'll go with the Detroit Red Wings. Final answer, please.
Question number 4. The Blues played 2 games against the Florida Panthers and 3 games against the Oilers last season. Against these 2 Stanley Cup finalists last year, how many games did the Blues win?
Wow. I know we won 2 for sure. Did we win 3? I think we did. 3. Final answer, please. It's a guess.
All right. Well, let's start there. The Blues played 2 games against the Panthers, 3 games against the Oilers last season. Against these 2 Stanley Cup finalists last year, how many games did the Blues win? Joe, without the options, you said 4. Jamie, without the options, you said 3. The correct answer is...
It is 3. 1 against the Florida Panthers and 2 against the Edmonton Oilers.
Jamie is up 2-0. Let's go to question number 1. Which Blues defenseman led this team in plus-minus last season? Joe, without the options, you said Colton Parayko. Jamie, without the options, you said, the guy that caught the 10-foot fish the other day, Nick Leddy. Correct answer is...
It is the guy that caught the 10-foot fish, the sturgeon, Nick Leddy.
Question number 2. Last season, Blues had 5 hat tricks throughout the season. 2 from Pavel Buchnevich, 2 from Jordan Kyrou, and 1 from which other player? Joe, you took the options, and you said Brendan Saad. Jamie, you also took the options. You said Robert Thomas. The correct answer is...
It is the captain, Braden Shen.
Oh, really?
Still have a 4-0.
Good for you, Shenner.
Zachary Bolduc scored his first career NHL goal last season in a 6-1 loss on the road against which team? Joe, you said the Wings. Jamie, you also said the Wings. The correct answer is...
It is the Detroit Red Wings.
Joe did need the options. However, Joe...
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Jamie got you 6-1.
Well, I got a point.
Joe, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate you playing along this week. You had a couple of tough ones with the random and then hockey against me. That's it's not ideal, but you did a great job, man.
Oh, man, it's been fun. Can I just do one more thing?
Sure.
Can you guys shout out my son, Logan? He's 9. We're celebrating his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Logan.
Awesome. What are we doing for the birthday?
We're just going to eat some pizza and go swimming on this hot day and have a good time.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
Awesome. Well, please celebrate it with your son. And Dylan, I hope you have an awesome birthday, my man. Joe, have a great weekend.
Yeah, it's Logan. But yeah, thanks, Jamie.
Oh, yeah. What did I say?
Dylan.
Dylan? Logan. You know, Joe, brain trauma's real, okay? Apologize for that.
No, I get it.
Yeah, and I've got 4 kids of my own, 6 if we include my girlfriend's kids. I got a lot of kids in my world, okay? Have a
happy birthday, Logan.
Happy birthday. I almost said Dylan again. Happy birthday, Logan. Son of a batch of biscuits. All right, Joe, take care, brother.
All right, bye.
He's like, I just wanted to shout out my kid, man. You're botching it all up, dude. I just try to be nice, Joe.
Oh, man.
Well, that's what we do, though. We mix up names here in the fast lane. It's nothing new.
We do. So, Carey.
Paul Gorman didn't.
Paul Gorman.
Oh, jeez.
We had a whole bunch of.
Yeah.
So,
well, by the way, the Cardinals just lost 6-3.
Marshy, we're going to talk about birthdays right now, okay?
Oh, okay.
Your kids, where'd you take them? Like, let's say a 9-year-old birthday for you. Where are you taking your kids?
Well, my son enjoys like the run, jump, trampoline places.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys
like bounce
those.
you,
bounce you,
like,
rock and jump, and all of those places. They go in there and go crazy, and I just go sit down somewhere because I just hope and pray they come back in the same way that they left. Yeah. He enjoys that. My daughter is she's very chill. Like my youngest daughter is very chill. My oldest she'll be 22 this year, so
she's doing different things.
Yeah, she's hanging out. She's looking for a bar probably. Just gonna have.
Probably?
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself, okay?
hey.
I did the same thing. My oldest daughter went down after her second year, maybe her third year. Ashley and I went down to visit her and go out. We're going to go grab a bite to eat and go out. I learned quickly that my daughter was no stranger to the bar scene.
My daughter, we were in Branson a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, hey, you want to get some wine? I'm like, whoa, what? Wine? I forgot you're 21. Okay. I'll share. So I'll have some wine with you, daughter.
It's the weirdest thing that once your kids are a certain age and you're sitting there sharing a cocktail.
Yes.
Like having a beer watching the game.
What's going on here?
Hey, Dad, you want a beer while I'm in here?
Feels like bad parenting to a degree.
This feels weird. This feels so weird. I'm like, no, Dad wants a bourbon, son. You know better.
There was a place when I was younger. It was called Tumble Drum.
Yeah.
I loved going to that place when I was a younger child. I don't know if it's still around, though.
I don't know either. My kids did like the Monkey Joe's. They liked those places. Like it was kind of like a Bounce You, where you got all these different things. It's always fun.
You got Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese back in the day was good.
Then you graduate when you're like, you get a little earlier or a little older.
Show me's?
Showbiz.
Marshy, I thought he said show me's. I was like, mine too. Unreal.
Hey, kid, you're 13 now.
It's about time. Son, you're 12. It's about time we go to show me's. They got a great birthday dinner there. All right, enough silliness here. Let's talk more silliness like the way the Cardinals played today. That's coming up next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's BK. I am live at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely for this evening. We've got the Ironman 55 tonight. Only the strongest and fastest are going to be able to prove they're worthy of the Ironman title. And this grueling $25,000 to win 55 lapper. Once again, the World of Outlaws, NOS Energy Sprint cars are accompanied by the Extreme Outlaw Midgets. You can come on out, see them race tonight. The pit gates were opened up already. Grandstands are coming up at 5 o'clock, and then you've got the hot laps, the qualifying with the opening ceremonies coming up at 6:30. So come on out, see this great race, the Ironman 55 down in Peevely, Missouri at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway. The grandstand gates open today at 5 o'clock. So come on out, say hello, register to win a 101 ESPN prize pack. It's Brandon Kiley. I'm broadcasting live the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55.
Fastlane 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here. Anthony Stalter off today and all of next week. Some much-deserved time off with the family before the craziness of school starts. All right, guys, so your Cardinals in Chicago for Game 2 of this series, they fall 6-3. Erick Fedde, his first start for the Cardinals. A rocky beginning to it. In fact, more a rocky second inning for Erick Fedde. And then following that, Marsh, you had some numbers on Erick Fedde?
Yeah, I believe he ended up retiring 10 batters after that rough second inning. So, not a great start, but the way that he finished his outing, I think there's some positives to take away from that, if any. I know a lot of people probably don't care about that, and that's very fair, and we're probably going to give them that opportunity to spill some blood.
Well, his final numbers, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, but 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs. Unfortunately, one of those bombs cost him a couple of runs right there in one shot. Here's what I'll say about Erick Fedde and his first game as a Cardinal. I remember a couple of years ago, John Lester, his first game for the Cardinals. It was awful. It wasn't great. And I truly believe that pitchers have it more difficult than position players because they have to get used to their catcher, their pitching coach. Like, there's a lot of things that they're digesting. They're trying to prep for this game against the Cubs. So I don't think Erick Fedde was prepping for a game against the Cubs 2 days ago. He was still a Chicago White Sox. So you got to do your game prep and all that. At the same time, you're moving. So his family's not moving yet, but he's living in a hotel now. He had to pack a whole bunch of stuff, had to kiss the wife, the kids goodbye, whatever his situation is. It's a lot. Am I making up some excuses? Yes, because I've been there. But I've been there as a hockey player. Right. I arrived in the middle of the first period one time after being traded. I'm not joking. It's a great story.
Did you play?
Yeah. It was at the deadline. I was playing for the Coyotes at the time.
Yeah.
I was playing for the Red Wings. And I got traded to the Coyotes at the deadline, but right before the deadline. Yeah. So to get to Columbus, where the Coyotes were playing, it wasn't going to be easy. I thought, I'll just fly in, join the team. Gretz, who's coaching the Coyotes, calls me and says, no, we need you here for the game. We don't have enough players. So that's fine. So I flew into Columbus. It was hilarious because they had a police escort waiting for me. Yeah. And wee, for me. I'm like, this is awesome. I wish I would have videotaped this stuff. Get to the rink. I arrive. It's the first period's already begun. They don't have a jersey for me, nothing. The first TV timeout, Barry Smith, who was my coach the year before in Detroit, he comes down. He's like, hey, you getting warmed up? I'm like, yeah, Barry, I got a coffee. That was my stretch. That's the way I warmed up. Here's my coffee. I got a coffee. The trainer's doing things. He goes, well, next TV timeout, you're going. I'm like, okay. So Stan, our trainer, is sewing on my name to the jersey. My gloves are red. Yeah. The team is burgundy. I don't have gloves, anything like that. So I go out there. The next TV timeout, Gretz is the one that comes down and goes, all right, you're going. Yeah. All right. So out I come, wearing Red Wings gloves with my Coyotes outfit. I'm ripping around the ice. The Columbus team is laughing. They're like, look at this crap. As I'm out there, I'm introducing myself to guys.
Your teammates.
I only knew 2 guys on the team. So I'm like, hey, Jamie, nice to meet you. Then Barry starts saying, yeah, you got to go. I'm like, right now? He's like, yeah. Played right away. Yeah. Ended up with an assist in that game. I think we won that game.
That's awesome.
But that's a hockey player. Right. I'm not sitting there going, hey, by the way, how are we calling this game? Who hits what? What do you have on this guy? There's a lot more that goes into it. So to Marshy's point, I think Erick Fedde retiring 10 batters in a row after the catastrophe says a lot about the individual. Shows me what he's got available. But 2, he's mentally tough. Yeah. Because he could have just shattered at that point. And he didn't. So, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I thought it was a rough start. It was and you could probably say a rough outing, even though it did kind of settle itself out. The damage was already done. You don't want to give up that many runs. They were mostly in the second inning and gave up 5 earned runs, and so one of them was a shot. It wasn't great, but like you said, first opportunity out. Hopefully the next time out it'll be better. But there were some other things that happened.
Oh, do tell.
Late in the game that.
There's a couple. Can I say one first?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
And I know what you're going to say. I'm not taking yours.
Go ahead.
Okay, mine happened first.
Okay.
Bases loaded. Paul Goldschmidt at the plate.
Yeah.
Walk. Big run comes in.
Yeah.
Bases loaded. Still 2 outs. Nolan Arenado at the plate.
What did he do? He went yard?
2 years ago. 2 years ago, that pitcher's shaking in his boots. Everybody in Chicago is, here we go. Game's over. He hit a dribbler out. So to me, that's a microcosm of the season for Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier as well, the superstar players showing up in the biggest moments. Like, you have to do that when you are being paid and you are considered a superstar. My moment was also a bases-loaded moment.
What? They had bases loaded twice,
a couple times. They had some opportunity. I mean, the only 3 runs they scored were walked in while the bases were loaded. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Good eye.
They didn't actually hit a ball out of the infield or even in the infield to drive a run in today.
It was good seeing Michael Ciani get that opportunity.
Well, no, actually, he didn't. So
wait.
Bases loaded.
And Michael Ciani got pulled out?
Michael Ciani is up. Yeah, they brought in a pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter. Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, no.
What?
No. Nolan Gorman actually didn't. He got in the game after that in the field, but they brought up Brandon Crawford to hit. And he struck out.
Now, he was 5 for 7.
The numbers said he should be pinch hitting in that moment.
I don't care.
However, you have a young man on your team who is, for whatever reason, and I don't know if we even know why, he hasn't been playing as much lately, hasn't been starting games, hasn't been getting the opportunities. You got him here because I was told that he is a bat, a big league bat that hits home runs, that drives in runs. He might strike out, but he's going to drive in runs.
What did Crawford do?
He struck out.
How many pitches?
I think it was 4.
No, it was 3.
It was 3.
I think it was 4.
It was a ball.
He took a ball. He took a ball.
I don't know about that, guys. We're going to have to check the tape.
He did take a ball because I remember specifically saying I would not swing until this guy throws a strike.
And then he threw a strike.
And he threw an 87-mile-an-hour four-seam down the middle that he stared at.
He threw 3 strikes right after that.
Listen, that to me is so frustrating and puzzling. You may not be happy with how streaky Nolan Gorman is, Ollie. Okay,
then what is he here
for? CD, we're going to get into it. Okay?
I'm sorry.
I think we are, right, Marshy? We have that.
We'll get into that. Yeah, so stay tuned, everybody.
Stay tuned. We got something coming up on this Nolan Gorman thing because Ollie had a few things to say about it before the game, which led me to believe that he might actually put Gorman in if the opportunity was there. And he didn't. You got a guy that, what do you have, 24 home runs last year. A guy that could not only put it out of the park, he put it out of the diamond, he put it out of the park if he gets a hold of it. What are you doing, Cardinals? What are you doing? Brandon Crawford, who's barely seen the field in any capacity this year at all. I don't care what his numbers career are against said pitcher. His career was over. You called him at home. And he's done a good job. This isn't about Brandon Crawford, okay? I should probably refocus my anger. It's not about Brandon Crawford. It's the fact that Ollie went to Brandon Crawford instead of Nolan Gorman. That situation, Marshy, screamed Nolan Gorman.
Well, how about this,
Or Matt Carpenter, for freak's sake. Matt, wait a minute. I got a whole new hill to die on. Matt Carpenter, I think this to be true, in Cardinals history, has the best average and everything with bases loaded.
He's a
he's a left-handed
too.
bat.
Damn it,
Ollie.
2 things. One, we saw Matt Carpenter come through earlier in the season when they played the Cubs at Busch. It was a great moment for Matt Carpenter. They win that game. Also, you have Michael Ciani up. Well, why not let him hit? This guy has been hitting the ball lately. He has like a 9-game hitting streak, and he had a hit in today's game. He was 1 for 2.
Okay, but
with a walk. He's seen the ball lately. He's come up in big situations. We remember the game against Paul Skeens. He's the one that leads off, has a hustle double. Cardinals end up winning that game. Why not let him hit?
Okay, if we're doing numbers here, okay, if we're doing these numbers, then the automatic choice is, look at this, Matt Carpenter, career, bases loaded, 483 batting average, 750 slug.
You want that guy to play?
I know he's your bench guy, okay? I understand this. 87 plate appearances, whatever. Good God, it gets worse. Here it is. 29 hits, 483 batting average, 750 slug, 88 RBIs in those situations for Matt Carpenter with the bases loaded. If you don't go to Gorman, how the hell do you not go to Matt Carpenter here? Left bat too. All things considered.
I don't have an answer because I think that was a, you put the numbers out there, and I think this is where maybe numbers can be misleading at times. What? I've said that time and time again. Obviously, because of the results. Now,
who
here's
are you
the thing.
picking, CD?
If I'm picking Nolan Gorman.
You're Gorman? I'm going Carpenter.
I'm leaving Siani in.
Oh my God.
I'm going Nolan. Well,
What?
this is but listen to that.
Bunt?
Listen to that. Listen, we
didn't need a home run. They needed a base hit
We
or a
have
walk.
3 options. We all gave 3 different options, and he went with the 4th. So that'll tell you how difficult of a position it is. My question is, why is Nolan Gorman here if you're not going to give him the opportunity in that situation? You don't need a home run, Marshy, but damn it looks good if you hit one.
It would have been nice.
Would
have been nice to hit that ball into the Wrigley rack.
It would have been great.
It's just so puzzling to me. And I guess what bothers me is I'm not an Ollie hater. I'm not. I think that Ollie Marmol has done a pretty good job. But he has made some really questionable decisions in the last month to month and a half. When this team has been so close to solidifying themselves as a playoff team, now chasing a playoff spot, Ollie has made some decisions that just makes me sit here and scratch my head, and I just don't know why. And we'll hear the audio later. We'll pull it up, whatever, with the questions asked. I sure as hell hope somebody asked him, why on earth would you go to Brandon Crawford there instead of Matt Carpenter or Nolan Gorman or even Michael Siani?
I think we already know what his answer. The numbers bared it out. I think we already know the answer.
So then here's my response. Well, Ollie, actually the numbers bear out that Matt Carpenter should be anybody's pick in all of the Major League Baseball with the bases loaded.
I don't disagree.
So, but if we're doing the numbers game, let's go there.
I don't disagree.
Doesn't make any sense.
I think it's frustrating. If it works, though, again, if it works, then
you're good.
You're good, and that's the difficult part of making these moves as a manager.
Here's the problem with what you just said. For me, is if it works. If it works, you don't know if it's going to work, right? But I do know that it's worked more often than not with Matt Carpenter. In that situation. Never mind just head-to-head against that pitcher. That situation. And in that ballpark. I believe Matt Carpenter hit a grand slam and another home run in that ballpark like a handful of years ago. 4 or 5 years ago.
I think he hit like 5 in 1 week.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I think it was 2018.
Sorry. I'm all fired up, guys. I'm all fired up.
It happens.
All right. Let's do something different here. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. We're going to have your sports six-pack coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals dropped the first two games to the Chicago Cubs. They lose last night 5-4, and then earlier today they dropped today's game 6-3. Erick Fedde in his first start as a Cardinal went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He struck out 4. And 2 of those earned runs, he gave up 2 home runs. We talked about that earlier in the show. We'll continue talking about today's game and what transpired. But if you missed anything from today, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next, so if you have a question you want to send our way, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Sports Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Back here in the Fast Lane, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers with you here. Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646. Time for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
All right, guys, I feel like we're all a little irritated right now, so let's change the vibe in here. And let's look to some positivity from the 618. What was it like scoring your first major point or points?
Okay. So I think I had 2 assists in like one of my first games ever. They weren't all that memorable, though. What was memorable was my first NHL goal. We were playing against the Vancouver Canucks, and it was the 3rd period. And I'd come around the net with the puck in my own end. We were tied at that point. And went to make a backhand pass to the middle of the ice. Got knocked down. Put right in the net. If I could have dug 6 feet into the ice and hid, I would have. So I get back to the bench, and Joel Quenneville comes down, yelling at me, of course. Didn't play me for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I was like, I'm done. And Jimmy Roberts, who was like my guy, he was my coach in the minors. He came up with me to the Blues. He goes, all right, kid, I'm going to put you on the ice at least one more time. Don't blank it up. Jimmy, I got you. Let's go. I get out on the ice, and there's a broken play, and the guy tries to make a pass like through my legs or whatever, so I kind of go down, block the puck, pass it up to Joe Murphy. I don't know what took over at that point. I'm like, I'm going for it. So I like just straight up the ice, like all offense, no defense on this play. Joe Murphy gets inside the blue line, kind of peels back up like a delay play. I'm coming in through the middle of the ice, and he just floats one out. And I hit this one-timer. Got to be 100 miles an hour. It was like, clack, like it hit the back of the net, like that fast on Kirk McLean. Place goes nuts. You know, we're tied up now again. I'm losing my mind. Heart's pounding. Like, it's just an awesome feeling. I got Al McInnes congratulating me. Like, oh, my God. Like, this is unbelievable. We get back to the bench. And I said, see, Jimmy? Never a doubt. And he was like, you son of a... But that was... Then we went on to win. Brett Hull scored the next goal. We won the game. So that's awesome. It was a huge moment for me. What about your first NFL touchdown?
I only scored 1 because I played fullback, and it was it was actually preseason, so it didn't.
Well, so hang on. Explain it to our listeners who don't understand, because fullback nowadays it's like a running back.
Yeah.
Right? When you played, you had a very
was-
specific job.
Yeah, block the linebacker and make sure he doesn't kill your tailback, your running back. So,
you were the guy who cleared the path for the
yes,
running back.
Correct. So me blocking for Willie Parker, making sure, my proudest moment, anytime he scored, it was a touchdown for me.
Yeah.
And we led, and I say we because we led the league in rushing in 2007 until he broke his ankle. And then Adrian Peterson ended up getting the rushing crown. But that was, for me, watching him have success. And it was a learned thing because it's not, I wanted to score.
Of course.
High school, college, I wanted to run the football. And it was a thing where I had to learn and pace myself and understand that for the success and the betterment of the team, these guys are going to have to do that. I remember Bruce Arians bringing me in 07. He's like, all right, young man, we got a decision for you. You can either battle it out with Najee Davenport for the second/third string tailback, because Willie's our starter, or you can be the starting fullback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. BA, that doesn't sound like a suggestion. That sounds like, yes, I will be the starting fullback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, yeah, just blocking and making sure that the team success was what we had.
So tell me about the touchdown.
But the touchdown was against the Carolina Panthers. It was a power, what we call power. The guard is pulling around my guy. We called him Big Juicy, Chris Kimuatu. He looked like the juice. He looked like Kool-Aid, the juice man. Like, he had the hair. We called Big Juicy leading around, blocking the linebacker, and I'm cut off right off his butt and scored the touchdown. And that to me, because it was preseason, my first collegiate touchdown was probably more special to me because it was my first game starting. Our starter, Jamil Cook, who got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was hurt. And earlier, I almost scored twice that game, but I scored a touchdown in that game. And that was amazing for me because it was, my first collegiate touchdown as a sophomore. I was like, oh man, I can do this. But there was a series later on in that game where we were actually losing to Indiana. And I'll never forget, this is the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. It was a linebacker. It was an ISO play. I don't remember his first name. I remember his last name. His last name was Smith. And he played for the Indiana Hoosiers. And he smoked me. The running back didn't get tackled, but he smoked me, and it was so hard. Jamil was on the sideline, and I just looked at him like, he's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, I don't know. But I got up. We were able to drive down, and I actually almost scored the game-winning touchdown. I dove, I stepped out of bounds, and hit the pylon, but we were able to score on that drive. And so for me, that was probably my coming of age in football, knowing in college that I could do it. But once I got to the league, it was blocking, man. It was not a fun job. The results were fun.
Yeah.
I used to have to sit in a machine, Jamie, a contraption that pulled my neck away from my body.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's crazy.
I remember, if we go back to like junior or college, things like that, I was fortunate enough to play for Team Canada in the World Junior Championships, which is just like the Olympics, basically. All the best players that are under 20 playing for their countries. And this was 1993, 94. It was the 94, 95, rather. It was the lockout year. And so there was no NHL hockey going on. And the tournament that year was in Canada. So all the guys who played in the NHL that were still junior age got to come back and play.
Okay.
So they were calling us the dream team because we had all these guys like from the NHL, and, like myself and like whatever. But there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
All the other countries got their guys back too, but nobody knew of them, right? So we're sitting there, we're playing in the Calgary Saddle Dome. It's sold out, 20,000 people there, 18,000, whatever the hell it holds. And we're tied with the Czech Republic. We should have been pounding them. And this was a round robin tournament. So there's no playoff.
Right.
So every win is important. If you tie, you could lose because another team might just run the table.
Right.
And so we're tied with them with like 2 minutes left in the game, maybe a little bit over that. And my coach comes down to me, says, all right, you're going, you guys are going. He goes, hey, Jamie, no pinching. Don't take any chances out there. Pinching is like staying in, like hoping to get the puck, right? So we get down there, and sure as all hell, puck comes around, I go down the boards. I poke it down low, and then as I'm trying to go back, because I had time, one of their guys kind of trips me. So I end up stumbling. Now 3 guys are behind me. I guess my one defense partner. This guy goes to flip the puck like a sauce pass. I knock it out of the air. And now at this point, I'm like, oh my God, it's me, there's a defenseman, then there's a goalie. So I take a couple of hard strides in the middle of the ice, and I was going to go top shelf. But then as I was about to shoot it, like the bottom blocker, like I was like, oh my God. So halfway through, I like changed it and shot it low blocker, scored. The game-winning goal.
That's awesome.
In that 20,000 people, all of Canada going nuts because Team Canada just won the game. That was the greatest feeling ever. It was pretty awesome.
It is.
All right, Marshy, we're up against it here. Let's carry over the sports six-pack. We've got questions 2 through 6 coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's BK. We're just getting started in what's going to be an amazing night tonight out at the Ironman 55 at the Federated Auto Parts Speedway at I-55. You can come on out, say hello, register to win a 101 ESPN prize pack. I'm going to be here until 6 o'clock. Gates open coming up at 5, so they're almost open for you guys. You'll be able to see coming up at 6:30 the hot laps, then the opening ceremonies. Races will follow. This is taking place tomorrow as well, so come on out. It's only the strongest and fastest that can prove that they are worthy of the Ironman title and the grueling $25,000 to win 55 lapper. It's all taking place tonight and tomorrow at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely. Again, I'll be here until 6 o'clock. Come on by, say hello, register to win a 101 ESPN prize pack, and then you'll be able to watch the Ironman 55. It's Brandon Kiley broadcasting from the Ironman 55 at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway in Peevely, Missouri.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Fastlane back with you here on 101 ESPN. We're going to continue our Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 2.
All right, interesting question here from the 314. Why does it feel like Ollie needs to make a promising young player the scapegoat for his mismanagement of the team? First, it was Tyler O'Neill. Then it was Jordan Walker. Most recently, it was Dylan Carlson. And now it's looking like Nolan Gorman is next. Are we seeing a pattern?
I don't think Ollie has it out for young players as scapegoats. I think Ollie has a job to try and play these guys and to see what they can contribute to the major league roster. When we talk about Dylan Carlson, I mean, he was before Ollie. He was Mike Schilt, started with him. Then Ollie inherited him as a player, and the injuries, what's Ollie supposed to do about the injuries? And the rehab, and then the inability to hit the ball. Like when you have a hitting coach, Turner Ward, who, by the way, the players praise him. They really like him, say that he brings a great approach to a lot of things. Alec Burleson can't speak any more highly of Turner Ward for what he's been able to do for him. So it's not the hitting coach. It's the player was unable to produce. Tyler O'Neill, let's be honest, Tyler O'Neill couldn't stay healthy, and he was loafing out there at times. So when Ollie calls him out, like what? Oh, just because he's young, Ollie shouldn't call him out? Like, come on.
I had no problem with him calling Tyler O'Neill out.
No.
Everyone that had eyes could see that he wasn't running hard on that specific play. As far as, blaming younger players, I think when you're a younger player trying to find your role, trying to stay in that role, they say it's hard to get to the major leagues. It's hard to get to the NHL. It's hard to get to the NFL. It's harder to stay.
Yes, it is.
It's harder to stay once you are there because there is a level of competition, and it's every single day. It's the work. And Nolan Gorman, he hasn't been – I'm surprised it took this long. I thought after he got out of that stretch in June where he just wasn't hitting the baseball at all, that would be the time where they decided to sit him down. But they let him work his way through it, and he hit a few home runs. I'm not sure as to why – this is taking place now for him where he's not getting opportunities. I think this is 5 or 6 games, 5 out of the last 6 games where he hasn't started, which is intriguing to me because you know what he is. You accepted this. They essentially told you this is what he's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to strike out 150 times. Deal with it. Yeah. This is what they told us was the expectation. So why are you not allowing him to be who you already knew he was? If you don't like this, then you should have probably tried to move him in the offseason where you could have gotten something for him.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's weird to me.
I don't know what's going on because I thought for a second, I was like, maybe Gorman is dealing with something, and Ollie just hasn't outed it in the media yet. But then he puts him in as a defensive replacement.
There you go, late in the game.
What are we doing here? Again, I still think that Matt Carpenter was the number one choice for me off the bench in the bases loaded situation. Second choice, though, Nolan Gorman. So if you're going to pick a lefty bat off the bench, it's got to be one of those two in that situation, and it wasn't either of them.
I was surprised to see
the crawdaddy.
I was surprised, and if it would have worked out,
hey, what the hell are we doing here?
Again, this is the numbers say he should be the one going against him.
The numbers say Matt Carpenter.
Well,
his batting average in all of Major League
performance
Baseball
against that specific pitcher.
I know.
That's what the numbers say.
I still do.
But I don't know when the last time he faced him.
Terrible.
Which is another question.
Question 3, please.
Question number 3.
Probably not anytime recent. If we're being honest.
Yeah, let's be completely honest.
Okay, from the 402, why do athletes seem to rely so much on intangibles like momentum, superstition, and faith? Why not just recognize and embrace their pure gifts and talent even when it's not good enough?
We do. So when guys bring up superstitions or faith or whatever stuff, what are some of the other things he said?
Momentum.
Yeah.
Those are all ancillary things. As an athlete, when you're going out to play the game, at least for me, I can't speak for you, CD, or anybody else. For me, I knew I had abilities.
Correct.
And I knew my game. I could skate, I could hit, I could shoot, I could do all these things. I'm like, I'm going to bring it tonight. Right. So, and again, I told you earlier, I had no superstitions.
You're a psycho.
And so, for me, it was about preparation, getting to the rink. I used to want to get to the rink so early. I get to the rink probably 4 hours before the game.
Really?
Yeah. And it was
why?
Because my brain
that was your thing.
It was 3.5 to 4 hours before. And my brain would work like this. I'm at the rink. I can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look, it's hockey right now. If I'm at home another hour and a half, I'm watching TV, watching this, watching that, on the phone. Somebody's going to call you.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I want to get to the rink. I'm going to get into my sweats. I'm going to walk around with a coffee on. I'm going to get a hot pack on my back. And I'm going to talk to the trainers. I'm going to talk to the stick boy. I'm going to hang out, go talk to the coaches. Like, I'm going to talk hockey.
Yeah.
And that was, so maybe that was my superstition, my thing, but it's more like preparation.
It's probably different for you all because you all play 3 or 4 games a week. Yeah. Whereas for me, on a Sunday, nobody's calling me from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Like, I'm not receiving a bunch of texts or phone calls. A, I'm not answering. B, they're not calling.
Yeah.
Like, they know, oh, it's Thursday night. We're not,
Maybe my buddies from, like, back home.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not I'm that's it. Like, we're not. So maybe the one time a week thing does help. But I think as a professional athlete, you use... There's a bit of a sickness to it because you will use whatever you can to get you motivated to go and be ready. Like, people laughed and I took that personally when Michael Jordan did The Last Dance and how he took everything. But you do psych yourself out. You do say, oh, you know what? What did you say? You said something like you will make something up.
You stole that car, not a lady.
Right. Come on, man. You know I never knew your mother. Like, you will force yourself to believe what you need to believe. And sometimes you have to do that to get yourself going in that moment. And whatever it takes, as I said, because getting there is hard enough, staying there is even harder. So, I mean, whatever the God-given ability is what got you there, but the mentality and doing it that way is what's going to keep you there.
Question number 4.
From the 661, what bands or songs specifically get you into the mood? That mood is completely defined by you.
Sometimes it's the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to throw on a Seven Dust album and just like thrash, you know? You know what I'm talking about, CD?
Nope, I don't know.
Or like a good Marilyn Manson song, you know? Like,
my.
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I mean, get in the mood to play the hockey game. What are you guys talking about?
For me, it was Tupac when I was getting ready for a game.
Yeah.
Tupac would do that. Certain music just kind of, it was usually something that made me not angry. Tupac wouldn't always, but it would be something else that would get me. Yeah, DMX would help with that. Like,
up in here.
Yeah. You
X
get
gonna
that.
give it to you.
You get to going, and some things are. Ready to go. We're talking about our sports.
I don't,
Nothing
of
else.
course. No.
What do you think?
And sometimes you
Marsh,
can
get your mind out together.
use it in multiple ways.
I didn't say anything.
I use it multiple ways. It's fine. Like maybe it's
I was
workout
thinking it,
music. I actually, I don't have a certain genre that like I have to listen to. Country, I wouldn't listen to country before games or anything like that because I love country music, but it makes me think of like being at the lake having a beer.
Yeah.
Like
Makes you want to fall in love.
No, not so much.
Okay.
Just sitting at the lake having a beer, maybe petting the dog. You know, that's what it makes me think of. So I'm not going to play that before a game, but I love rock music, like anything at all that was for whatever year that it was that I played in. I like dance music, techno music, good, like whatever song, like good rap, you know, something with like, so I always say I'm like a ninja when it comes to music. I don't recognize just one style.
You know what else we used to do? I don't know if you all did this. It's probably not a good thing, and anybody out there that's listening, don't do it. We would put like the smelling salt packets in a bottle, break them,
Yeah.
5 or 6 of them. Close the bottle, shake up the bottle, and
I thought you were going to drink it.
no, you don't drink it. The bottle is
That's
empty.
what I thought you said.
No,
I was
the bottle is empty. In an empty bottle. But
Then you just huffed the hell out of that thing, didn't you?
Well, you see hockey players all the time on the bench doing
Yeah,
the
we would
smelling
put 5 or 6 of them in a bottle.
So there was this product.
Don't squeeze the bottle.
No, don't do that. It's an overdose there. There was this product that got banned, oddly enough. It was called Ultimate Orange.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the very first time this made its way into the locker room was here with the Blues. And I remember drinking this Ultimate Orange.
Yeah.
And I could feel the hair growing on my arms. I was so wired. It was unhealthy.
Yes.
It was unhealthy. And then first shift, actually, oddly enough, so Kasperi Kapanen, his dad played in the NHL. First shift, I go out and cross-checked Sammy Kapanen in the side of the face. 5 minutes, game misconduct, out of the game.
What are you going to do with the rest of this energy that you have?
I had to go work out. I'm like, I got to get this out of me. Worked out. Jimmy Roberts comes, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, Jimmy, I drink this. Don't ever drink that again. So we had some things, too.
Yeah.
What is this called?
Ultimate Orange.
I've heard, I feel like...
It tasted like an orange creamsicle.
And that's not like the Russian gas.
No, but it's banned. It is so
banned,
much.
though.
What, ephedrine in it?
Ephedra, yeah.
Yeah, it had so much of that, and you could feel the hair growing on your body.
You'll be
skin
ready
was
to
tingling.
run through a wall.
Yeah, literally, like you have no problem.
Like, nah, the wall's there. Don't worry about it. I'll go through.
So, we're up against it here. Dang it, Marshy. What do we got? Question 4?
Yeah, we got the question.
Damn it. All right, we tried, everybody, but you got some good stories.
There's good questions, too.
There's great questions. All right, we were just talking earlier about Nolan Gorman and Ollie's decision not to pinch hit him with the bases loaded. How about the Cardinals just let one of their youngsters develop while in a playoff push? How about it, Ollie? We'll talk about that next here, 101 ESPN. Cardinals lost 6-3 to the Cubs today at Wrigley Field. And there was a certain situation that happened in the 8th inning. Bases were loaded. And right-handed pitcher on the bump. You figure Michael Ciani's up at bat. Carey and I figured that time for a pinch hitter. Who we got on the bench? Nolan Gorman is sitting there. The big dog who can smash a baseball 450 feet. Ollie did not tap Nolan Gorman to go up in that opportunity. Called on a veteran, Brandon Crawford, to go up there, who struck out, ended the inning. But it raised a bigger question for me, is why can't these guys let their young stars develop while in a playoff push? Because you needed that moment right there to win the game or give yourself a chance to win. And there's only two guys that could have really helped you in that situation. As Matt Carpenter or the young guy, Nolan Gorman. And Nolan Gorman, by the way, if you've been watching Cardinals games recently, he hasn't played a whole hell of a lot. Hardly at all.
Yeah.
So John Denton asked Ollie Marmol about Nolan Gorman and what's kind of happening. And here's what Ollie said. There have been periods of ups and downs with Gorman. Weeks where you feel really good with where he is offensively, and then times where there's not enough contact. His power potential is what you're hoping for and need in your lineup. That's what we were counting on out of spring training, so we felt good about it. With Assad, Pham has seen him, or he's talking about the pitchers, whatever. Pham has seen him, and so has Gorman, and he's 0 for 8 regarding that at-bat. So that's why you're seeing Nolan Gorman out, Brendan Donovan playing at second base, and Tommy Pham, who's been very good for the Cardinals since coming over in that trade with the White Sox. And Tommy Pham had a tough day today, goes 0 for 3 out there, but he had been hitting the ball pretty solid and even hit one really hard. Should have been a double. Outfielder Suzuki made a great play on that particular hit. But guys, is it a problem that the Cardinals have these younger guys, and in particular Nolan Gorman in this situation, and he's not playing in the most important time?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's interesting that he's not getting the opportunity. You say Nolan Gorman was 0 for 8 versus Assad, which is why he wasn't starting, but Nolan Arenado was 1 for 11. So
I know.
I mean, going into the game. So it's hard for me to understand what Nolan Gorman's role is going forward. And maybe it's just a stretch where they're getting him off his feet. But normally, a guy that has started essentially the entire season at second base,
and you've dealt with his swing and miss,
has had the ups and downs that he's had. You don't go a stretch like he's gone over the last 5 or 6 games where he's not really playing that much. That to me, it leaves a lot of questions. And then you have a moment where Assad wasn't in the game. I don't know that he's faced Nearest yet in his career. You don't give him an opportunity. You bring up Brandon Crawford. Again, the numbers say he's 5 for 7 against that pitcher, and so you would think that that's a better position to put him in. But what is Nolan Gorman's purpose if not that? If not the big bat off of the bench, the big left-handed bat off the bench if he's not starting? What is the role for him going forward if you're not going to allow him to play every day and again, suffer or struggle through his swings and misses, which he does often have?
So here we get a text from the 314 who apparently is late to the dance. Says he's playing the matchup. Crawdaddy was 5 for 7 against the pitcher. That's good managerial play there, Jamie. Okay. 5 for 7. When's the last time he faced this pitcher, though? Like, if we're talking career, because Crawdaddy's played forever.
Right.
I don't know when the last time he faced this pitcher, but if we're playing the numbers, 314, if we're playing the numbers, Matt Carpenter should have been the first guy off the bench. His numbers with the bases loaded are out of this world. So if we're doing the numbers game, but 314, I have a hard time believing that when you saw Brandon Crawford come off the bench, you thought he was the best option. I have a hard time. Cardinal Nation, talk to me. 314-399-9646. When Brandon Crawford came off the bench instead of Nolan Gorman or Matt Carpenter, did you feel like that was the right decision at the time?
Until they put the stat up. No, I'm saying, yeah. And before they put the stat up of what his numbers were versus
against this pitcher.
Before that
when you saw him walk out with the long hair, Did you feel awesome about it? Be honest, because I didn't. I didn't at all. First thing I said is, what is he doing?
Yeah. I guess, I mean, you have to have, you talk about what are the Cardinals doing with their young players while they develop, developing during what you got.
Somebody writes in, they last faced each other June 23rd, 1996.
It's been a while.
I have to check that out. I don't think that's true.
Doubt it was that
That would have been a few months old.
Yeah, it's been a while. It says he hasn't faced him since 2019.
2019.
That's what
There you go.
says. I would have
That's
to
a
look
long
it up.
time ago.
Yeah.
Brandon Crawford is not the same player he was in 2019, guys.
Nah.
Like, what a terrible position to put that guy in, by the way. Brandon Crawford's barely played this year, offensively or defensively. And you put him up there with the bases loaded, 2 outs, just because he's 5 for 7 against a guy he faced in 2019.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know we're off topic again.
No.
I don't care.
We're on the same page there. But again, back to Gorman. I just want to know what the role is going to be for him going forward. Is he, now that you have Tommy Pham, are you more comfortable having him play every day versus right and left-handed pitching and putting Donovan at second base? Is that the new role for him? Is he going to be the bat off of the bench, but not the bat off of the bench? Because if that's the case,
the bat off the bench, but like 4th or 5th pick.
He's supposed, in my opinion, he should have been the first person. And you think Matt Carpenter, I think Nolan Gorman in that moment. If you're going to pinch hit for Seattle.
I originally thought Gorman until I totally remembered that Matt Carpenter just mashes with the bases loaded.
Also, Nolan Gorman has been playing well lately. So I think we had to take that into account. And I said it when we brought it up. I have no problem keeping Michael Ciani in that situation. He's been swinging the bat really well.
Marshy, we've had a request for you to put your poll out on Twitter here.
Oh, man.
Regarding this. With the bases loaded, who would you have picked off the bench? Brandon Crawford, Matt Carpenter, or Nolan Gorman? Can you put that out there for us?
I'll put my poll out right now.
Yeah, we've got 45 minutes till the end of the show, so we do have some time. So, Marshy, what's your Twitter?
It is, let me pull it up real quick. I should just know this at the top of my head, but it is _ Marshy Marsh _
There you go. Go to _ Marshy Marsh _ Marshy's going to put a poll out there on Twitter. Who would you have tapped on the shoulder? Brandon Crawford, Matt Carpenter, or Nolan Gorman? I'm interested to see what everybody says about that because I just don't think Brandon Crawford's the answer.
Unless he's hurt. But then if he's hurt,
then why do you put him in the field?
That's what I was about to say. If he's hurt, then you're not playing him in the field.
So what they did there is they did a double switch, right? I think they put Donovan in the outfield. Newbar went over to center field.
Tommy went to right field, and Gorman went to second base.
Yeah. If he's hurt, right, and you put Crawford in, why wouldn't you just put Crawford at second base?
Another question.
Because he's played shortstop, third.
Another question that
can't tell me he doesn't play second.
Yes. I don't know.
I don't either, Carey, and it's bothering me. It's really messing up my weekend already.
I get another one tomorrow there, Jamie.
Well, that should be fun. That should be fun. All right. This is the one I've been waiting to get to. And we're going to queue up some mic drops coming up here in the next segment. Does it make sense for the Cardinals to move on from both Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado? We'll get right into that after the break here on 101 ESPN. So I think it's safe to say that this year has been underwhelming when we talk about Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. It's Fastlane here, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. So Paul Goldschmidt has been hitting the ball better recently, which is always great. I like to see that. But overall for the season, it has been less than satisfactory from those two guys. Nolan Arenado has gone from a power hitter to a singles machine. And he's also had long stretches of no singles, going 0 for 11, 0 for 9, 0 for 8 in certain stretches. Mm-hmm. Yet he's still sitting in the cleanup spot for you in your lineup. So I guess ultimately, CD, does it make sense for the Cardinals to move on from both Goldschmidt and Arenado? And if so, how do you do it? Goldie's easy.
Yeah, Goldie is easier because he's not under contract for next year. So you don't have to extend an offer to him if you don't want to. And, you know, with the way that he's been playing, again, he's starting to see the ball better. He hit one, he crushed one, I think it was the first inning, that just went foul. Would have been a home run had it stayed fair, but
imagine that.
Imagine that.
It was foul, right?
It was foul.
Poor guy.
But I think it's easier to move on from him. I don't know if it's as easy to move on from Nolan Arenado, and nor that they would want to, right? Unless he wants to. And I think he's still under contract, I believe, for the next 2 seasons after this one. Maybe it's 3 years. But I don't think that you move on. I don't see him moving on from both of them. It's going to be hard, in my opinion, it's going to be hard enough for them to move on from Goldie. And the reason why I think that is because there's like a nostalgia with this organization of moving on from players and not wanting to see them go elsewhere. Guys that are going to be future Hall of Famers or, you know, future Cardinal Hall of Famers, to see those guys move on. I don't know that that's something that the Cardinals do with ease.
Yeah.
It's easier to move on from a Dylan Carlson after 3 years, 4 years, because, okay, we tried it, it didn't work out, let's move on. But guys that are the superstar or were the superstar caliber players that those two are, I think it's a little bit more difficult.
So Buster Olney, again, was on BK and Ferrario earlier today. And BK or Tanner, one of them, I forget who, asked him flat out about Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, and, you know, Paul Goldschmidt, his battles this year. Here's what Buster Olney had to say about Paul Goldschmidt.
It's interesting because this year his numbers against fastballs are actually pretty good. They're better than with off speed, but that also makes sense because what he might be doing, and I haven't asked him about this. I'm going to see him tomorrow. You know, what happens with older players is, in my experience, is that they in anticipating their potential issue against fastballs, they are aggressive against that pitch. They look for that pitch. They anticipated that pitch, but they also become vulnerable against breaking balls. His numbers against breaking balls this year are really bad. You know, and Father Time is undefeated. It's something that all aging players have to deal with. You know, their bat speed going down, especially in this era when pitchers are throwing harder than ever. You know, if you're a 37, 38-year-old slugger, you have to commit probably earlier than you did a decade before.
So there it is. And it makes sense, too, because when you're watching Paul Goldschmidt, especially earlier on this season, he was getting worked with that breaking ball low and outside, and he was swinging away. And we're like, what is going on here? Well, it's because Father Time is creeping in and the bat speed's down. So you got to get a jump on a fastball. You got to try and, I don't want to say cheat, but you're trying to cheat/predict when it's coming. So you got to get ahead of it a little bit. And then once you're committed, well, now you're reaching.
It's too late.
It's too late.
You're already going. It's kind of like life as you get older.
Yeah, it is.
It's too late.
Sports do mimic life in a lot of ways.
Once you get going, it's a little bit difficult to stop. And so I think, and to me, this drop-off last year wasn't bad, right? But this year for Goldie, it feels different. It feels like he's a little bit of an older player. And to me, that's one of the hardest things. I've heard coaches say this, managing the aging superstar, because they are accustomed to doing things a certain way. And now you got to start a little bit earlier on fastballs where you didn't have to 4 or 5 years ago.
Catch up to anything.
It was easy. But now the game has changed for you physically, but mentally you still feel it's like the same way for you, and it's not. And everyone is seeing it. And how do you manage that, and how do you get to that player to get him to understand that this part of your game has shifted a little bit?
And I think that when we talk about both of these guys, I think Goldie is coming around more than Arenado. Obviously, with his recent the plate appearances, Goldie has had a little more success, certainly a lot more power than Nolan Gorman. And when we look at today, Arenado goes 0 for gopher. So did Goldie. But Goldie did get an RBI because he drew a walk with the bases loaded. All right, we asked for your mic drops. Again, the 101 ESPN mobile app. Get on there and let us know if it makes sense to move on from Goldie and Arenado, or if you just have a comment regarding Goldschmidt and Arenado right now. We'd be interested in hearing about it. We do have one so far. It's Randall. What do you got for us, Randall?
Yes, it makes sense to move on from Goldschmidt, maybe not Arenado. It makes even more sense to move on from Ali Marmol.
Okay, so Ollie got a ricochet on that one. There, Randall, thank you for the mic drop.
I think today probably bothered some people.
It bothered me.
Yeah, I think it did. And I was mentioning this to you all earlier, even with Fedde. He did figure some things out, but it feels like there's a concern of beating up the bullpen or eating up too many bullpen pitchers early in series. And how I'm looking at it is you really don't have an opportunity to waste a game. Like I understand baseball is a long season, but we're down the stretch now, and you are not in a position. If you got to do what you got to do to win that game for today, and maybe we're not quite there yet. You know what I mean? Like maybe we're not quite there to the point where, all right, guys, we got to go regardless of fatigue and arm and whatever. Maybe we're not there yet, but at times it feels like we can get away with putting this guy or giving him an extra inning and not allowing the bullpen to be ate up. I talked to Marshy about Leahy coming in and giving up a run. It didn't hurt you, but it could have.
Yeah.
The Cubs were able to score 3 runs last night. That extra run could have changed something. So I don't know. It's at times it feels like, some of the decisions are questionable. I think fans felt that way about what today was.
Yeah, and to reiterate again here, like, you have 2 superstars on your team that are not playing like superstars, that didn't play like superstars last year either. They played like stars-ish last year, but not superstars. They're being paid like superstars. Yeah. Arenado's making over $30 million, I believe. I think Goldie's making $25 million this year, if I'm correct. If not, I'm close, okay? Carey, those guys have to be the biggest producers you have in your lineup.
Right.
And they're not. So, yeah, do they move on? I think you absolutely move on from Paul Goldschmidt. Nostalgia aside, the red jacket that they want to give him so bad. They moved on from Matt Carpenter. He made his way back here. Found his way back here in a way different role. And if Goldie wants to come back next year in a role like Matt Carpenter, I'll take him back for that.
Yeah.
You're going to sit on the bench. You'll be a DH and maybe a defensive replacement from time to time because you are a Gold Glove first baseman, and he still does a really good job in the field.
He does.
But that's your role, and you're going to make $1 million. Goldie, you up for it? Here's a pen. Quick, before the offer goes away. I'm okay with that.
By the way, a little update on my poll on Twitter X.
Yeah.
The question was, with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, who would you rather have up to bat for the Cardinals? We have about 18 minutes, give or take, left in this poll before we wrap the show up. Right now, Matt Carpenter leads 46%. Nolan Gorman at 27%. Michael Ciani at 25%. Brandon Crawford, 2%. I wonder who's voting for him.
He listens to the show.
Or he just, came across my poll on Twitter X.
Who wouldn't? So I think we will have final results coming up in the last segment of the day, but I think it's telling.
Yeah.
And it's even more telling now finding out, I love that. The Bally Sports do a great job, and they're telling the facts that Brandon Crawford was 5 for 7 versus this pitcher. 5 for 7, correct, versus this pitcher. But his last at-bat was in 2019, and our guy BK put it out on Twitter. I'm just going to paraphrase what he says. Is basically, you can't tell me that what he did 5 years ago against this pitcher is still relevant.
Right.
Can't be.
Yeah.
Like 5 years. Think about this. We're talking about Paul Goldschmidt, who last year had an okay season.
Yeah.
This year, Father Time caught up to him. How old's Brandon Crawford? He's got to be the same age as
36,
Goldie.
I believe.
He might be older. So you can't tell me that 5 years towards the end of a guy's career where he's played a long time doesn't make a difference.
37 years old. 37 years old.
37 years old. So 5 years ago, he was 32. Carey, at 32 years old.
Oh, listen, I was a bad man.
I moved a lot different than at 37.
Yep.
Bad man, like in a good way?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Aaron Rodgers. Bad man.
Bad man.
It's good.
So anyways, it's just puzzling to me. I think the Cardinals have a very unique problem on their hands. One, will the organization have enough guts to move on from Paul Goldschmidt? And then do they try to move on from Nolan Arenado? I don't know.
Nah, we'll see.
I also want to say Brandon Crawford, he's been hitting the ball better lately, but I still don't believe that he should be in that spot. Like, I don't think we're saying, hey, Brandon Crawford, you suck. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that say that, but he's been hitting he's been hitting the ball better than what he was at the beginning of the season, but that does not mean you put him in that situation.
No,
he's not that. That's not his role.
Guy, pal.
Okay,
you're not that guy, pal.
Hey, guess what? He's never been that guy. That's the thing for me is, like, if you're talking about at that point, they could have tied the game. One swing of the bat. Actually, I think they may have been able to take the lead. I think it was 5-2 at the time.
Grand slam. I think it was 5-3. 5-3.
It's 5-3.
5-3.
Hit a grand slam, your lead. Even a base hit ties the game.
Even a double ties the game, right? Like, but Brandon Crawford, like, I'm not going to sleep well tonight, guys. I can tell you. I'm just not.
You're going to have to get it out.
Got to get it out.
You got to deal with it.
I will. Don't you worry. All right, coming up next here, we got biggest question of the day. And what else, Marshy? Don't we have other things that we do here on Friday?
Well, we usually do beat the streak. We do have Fade or Follow coming up soon.
And
so
we've got the Marshy's poll. We're gonna revisit
forget about that.
Okay, biggest question of the day next here, 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's BK, and the grandstand gates just opened up a little bit ago out here at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peefly. People are starting to flow in because tonight is the night that you're going to be able to see the Ironman 55. We're going to be broadcasting here until 6 o'clock. We're hanging out. Come on by. Register to win a 101 ESPN prize pack. And then after you're done with us, you can go on out, see the hot laps. Those start at 6:30. You'll see the opening ceremonies and then the race to follow. Tonight is the night for the 55 lapper. Only the strongest and the fastest can prove that they are worthy of the Ironman title and a grueling $25,000 to win. NOS Energy Sprint Cars, they team up with the Extreme Outlaw Midgets for a high-speed weekend. It's including the most challenging race on the tour. This is the Ironman 55. Come on out, say hello, register to win that 101 ESPN prize pack. It's Brandon Kiley for the Ironman 55 at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals lose the first 2 games of the series against the Chicago Cubs. Yesterday, a heartbreaking loss as Ryan Helsley blew the game in the 9th inning. They lost 5-4, and then today they lose 6-3 in Erick Fedde's first start as a Cardinal. We talked about today's game at length, actually, so if you missed any of that, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Kyle Gibson will be on the mound tomorrow for the Cardinals. Hopefully they can pick up a W at Wrigley Field. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
Time is 5:35. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. It's also time for biggest question of the day. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. Marshy, what do we got?
All right, we had a question from the 314. Can you see yesterday's loss being the start to the end for the Cardinals this season? Ooh. And the way that it transpired, could you see that happening?
So here's what I find interesting is right after the Cubs had the walk-off to win the game, their broadcast talked about this is by far the biggest win of the season for the Chicago Cubs. So I started to think to myself, Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, comeback victory against the best closer in baseball. How does that impact the Cardinals? So the Cubs are only 3 games behind the Cardinals. Now they're 9 games back of the Brewers. But when it comes to the wild card, again, this has been the Wild West when it comes to the wild card. The Cubs are only 5.5 games back of a wild card spot. If they sweep this series against the Cardinals, this could be a massive momentum builder for the Cubs and a massive momentum killer for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree. And, I try not to be negative Nancy over here, but I think we are pretty realistic in what we see. If you're unable to, even splitting this series is not, it's okay, but you're at a position, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, looking at the wild card standing, how everyone other than the Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies are within reach of one another. Now the the Washington Nationals have kind of fallen back a little bit more.
They're the ones that are clearly, I think,
they are probably done.
Yeah.
But you still got the Reds, you got the Cubs, you got the Giants, the Pirates, Mets, and Diamondbacks all have, and Padres have all
even
leapfrogged
Braves.
you.
Look at the Braves are only a game and a half.
They all have leapfrogged you in the last 2 weeks since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
That to me is concerning. You're playing against a division foe, the Cubs. We know what that means. That battle against that team. If you get swept, again, tomorrow's another day. But if you get swept, you could be looking at a position where you are really further down, looking up. And I don't want to say it's out of reach because everyone is still so close, but you're putting yourself further out of reach for. The Diamondbacks have won 7 of their last 10. The Padres have won 9 of their last 10.
Yeah, they're playing well.
The Pirates they're 5-5, but the Mets are won 7 of their last 10. You're putting yourself in a position where if you're only going 4-6 in your last 10 or 5-5, you won't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
because the teams in front of you are playing too well.
Here's the way I look at it: is I don't believe that game or this series will ultimately be the end of the Cardinals. Now, here's why I don't believe it. You just got 3 players at the deadline. The only one to really make an impact so far has been Tommy Pham. Erick Fedde had a rough go today. I'm going to overlook it because it was his first start, and under the circumstances, he finished the game very well. I want to see where this team is at in a week. Once you've had ample time for Tommy Pham to either continue doing what he's doing or show you that he's just a bench bat, or Erick Fedde gets another start and shows you what he can do. Because I do believe there's enough left for them to challenge for a spot.
Even if you get swept.
Even if you get swept.
I'm not saying that the season is done if you get swept.
Yeah.
But
I don't like it. I'd rather not, Carey. I'd rather win tomorrow. Yeah, I'd rather do that. But
I'd rather win both of the next two.
It'd be nice. That's for sure. But I don't think it's the end yet. I look at 7 to 10 days from now, where are the Cardinals? And in 7 to 10 days, I'll be able to say what I truly feel. Because in 7 to 10 days, if some of these other teams go 7-3 again, so 7 days, let's say somebody plays 7 games and they go 5-2, and the Cardinals go 3-4, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed. And what the teams I'm talking about are the Diamondbacks, the Mets, and the Pirates. And the Padres, too, for that matter.
Right.
If those teams all play above 500 in the next 7 games, the Cardinals are probably screwed.
There you go.
So that's more what I'm looking at rather than the last 2 games here.
But the frustrating part for me is that wouldn't have mattered because you were in front of all of those teams just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. You were in front of all of those teams. Had you have not just played 500 ball or less than 500 ball, you would still be second or third in the wild card race.
Who do they play next?
They play one game, a makeup game against the New York Mets, and then a series at home versus the Tampa Bay Rays, on to Kansas City, and then on to Cincinnati. And you got the Dodgers.
We're on to Cincinnati.
So give me the next 7 games.
Next 7 games. New York for 1.
So
Tampa,
Mets.
Tampa for 3.
Yeah.
Cincinnati for 2.
Okay.
Was that 6?
Yeah.
And then they got a series at Cincinnati.
That's huge.
I agree.
The Royals are a really good baseball team.
Yeah.
The Mets are playing very good baseball right now.
They are.
The Reds are just kind of like the Cardinals, but even that, there's no guarantees. And then off to what?
L.A.
The Dodgers?
They play L.A. and Milwaukee here.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Back to back.
So, yeah, I'll expand what I'm saying. I'll expand my 7 days to 14 days. And the season could be over in 14 days. So that's where the Cardinals are at. That's where your St. Louis Cardinals
not great.
Not great at all. And this is where when we got the strength of schedule following the All-Star break. I don't pay attention to the strength of schedule and blah, 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 blah. Only time it matters, Carey, is when you're losing baseball games.
Yeah.
Because when you're losing, now it can spiral on you. You lose tomorrow against the Cubs, then you lose to the Mets. Let's say you lose 2 to 3 against the Royals. Dude, you are scrambling at that point.
I agree.
That's why strength of schedule matters.
Yeah.
Either way, the Cardinals are up against it. It's going to be a tough go here. They absolutely need a win tomorrow against the Cubs, get back on track. Who's on the bump? Is it Gibby?
Kyle Gibson on the mound. Cardinals are plus 100. They are the underdog heading into tomorrow's game.
I don't doubt.
What do they know?
Quite a bit based on the last 2 games.
Okay.
So, all right, we are going to wrap things up next. We've got fade or follow. We've got 3 stars of the day, criticism, compliments. We're going to reveal Marshy's poll, too, at the same time, right here on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's BK, and we're wrapping up my portion of the Ironman 55 out here today at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely, but there's so much more still to come. Coming up at 6:30 is the hot laps. You got the opening ceremonies, and then the race will follow. And tomorrow, if you can't get out here tonight, be sure to come on out tomorrow. 2 o'clock pit gates open, 4 o'clock grandstand gates open, and then once again at 6:30, they've got those qualifying laps. They've got the opening ceremonies, the race to follow. You're going to want to be here for what is the most grueling race on the tour. $25,000 to win, 55-lapper. The strongest and fastest are the only ones that can prove that they are worthy of the Ironman title in this race. Come on out, say hello, get registered to win a 101 ESPN prize pack. Again, we're going to be here for just a little bit longer. I've enjoyed being able to see so many of you guys, so come on out tonight, come out tomorrow. It's the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely for the Ironman 55. Come on out, say hello to Brandon Kiley at the Ironman 55.
It's time for FanDuel Fade or Follow on the Fast Lane.
Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more.
Everyone follow us.
No fade, no fade.
Money, 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 money.
The Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. It's time for Fade or Follow. We got our guy Ethan back with us. Ethan, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty well, although these last two losses have been absolutely brutal. So, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm with you, which leads me to our play. So the Cardinals have lost 2 to the Cubbies. Our guy Gibby on the bump tomorrow, who's been pretty rock solid, good veteran guy, good for these moments. We're taking the Cardinals on the money line. You gonna fade us or follow us?
Cubs are a slight favorite tomorrow. I think I'll just play the numbers. I'll fade this week.
You'll fade us?
Yeah, I'll fade.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Ethan.
Sorry, listen, I'm just playing the odds.
He knows what he's doing. There's a reason why he's going for 300.
You know what, Ethan? It still doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt, okay? That's all I'm saying. It might be the right play, but it still kind of hurts. Carey's welling up a little bit here.
You do what's best.
That's all right, buddy. All right, good luck to you, Ethan. Hopefully we get to talk to you again next Friday. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you guys as well.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right. Okay, Marshy, what do we got next here? I'm lost. I threw all my paperwork
Let's
away.
just do our bet the board. We'll just
bet the board.
Yeah, we'll just have everybody pick a play and
Did Anthony
we'll
send
go.
his in?
I don't believe so. So
we'll pick one for him.
We'll pick one for him. But
right.
why don't you go first, Jamie?
I am going out to the Brewers Nationals game. Frankie Montas is 3.5 strikeouts. I'm going with the over on that. It's minus 139.
Who are you rooting for, Jamie?
Well, the Brewers can get pounded.
I'm just asking.
Look what happened to Sonny Gray. He had 9 strikeouts one game and gave us 7 runs.
He had like 5 home runs.
Yeah, so don't worry about me, okay, pal? You just stay in your lane.
I'm just saying, you went over. Just checking.
Went over the strikeouts.
Yeah, no. You hoping he
He's
does
playing
well?
the Nationals, bro.
You're hoping he does well?
Yeah. Him personally, he's a good guy, I heard.
How about you, Carey?
Juan Soto, 1.5 hits, runs, RBI. Don't you say a
1.5 bet.
You don't say a word, Mr. Nolan Gorman, 0.5 that worked for you like 8 times.
Probably would have worked today if only we played.
Maybe. Did we all hit yesterday?
No.
You didn't?
No. What did I have yesterday?
Oh, jeez.
I forget what I had yesterday.
I hit yesterday, I think.
Maybe I hit. I can't remember what the hell I did. No, I had...
You had Cardinals money? Oh, no, Anthony had Cardinals money line. You had Pajes.
I had Pajes for a base hit.
He didn't get hit?
He went 0 for 4.
Did he go over?
Yeah.
Carey, you're actually leading because I also did not hit. I had the Cardinals going 3 up, 3 down in that first inning. Paul Goldschmidt hit a home run.
Oh, no.
So I guess it was a reverse jinx.
What'd you have?
I don't remember.
You had Matt
Olson.
I'm surprised you didn't have a 1.5 base play.
It was.
With Juan Soto.
No, it was Matt Olson. And he hit. Don't you worry about it, Jamie.
What's your play then? Or did you already went with Juan Soto? Okay, what are we giving Stalter? Let's be
I think
honest.
we got to give him the White Sox plus 260. They got to win at some point.
I can't do that to my man on the second day of the month. Well, let's find him a legit game here. I had one earlier I was going to go with. If my computer would unfreeze, would be miraculous. There we go.
Dodgers are minus 148 right now on FanDuel. Anthony's been picking the Dodgers money line a lot lately. I think we just give him that just because that is in the threshold and they're taking on the Oakland Athletics.
Oh. Yeah.
And it's only minus what?
Yeah. Minus 148.
How's that even possible? They're playing against a AAA team tonight. Unreal. All right, that's your bet to board.
Well, I still need to go.
Oh, I thought you went already.
No, I haven't gone yet.
Sorry.
W, they back?
The W.
No, trust me, I looked. I don't think they're back till August 15th.
They're at the Olympics right now.
Oh, they are playing basketball overseas. All right.
I am looking at the Tampa Bay Rays and the Houston Astros, and Kikuchi is on the mound for the Astros. I think it'd be hilarious if he just lost tonight just because of what they gave up to get him. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 132 on that money line.
Wow. All right, there you have it. There's your plays. All right, Marshy, let's get into your poll here.
Yes, absolutely. Let me pull it up real quick for everybody.
Whoa.
We had a lot of people who were...
got on your poll?
They were chiming in for sure.
How many people on the poll?
107 people. The final result within 30 minutes. So shout out to everyone that voted on the poll. And a lot of people were commenting as well on what they would do. We had one from Brendan said, I'd rather just lose. And that's exactly what they did. But the results were Matt Carpenter, 44%. He wins. Nolan Gorman came in second, 29%. Michael Ciani, 25%. Brandon Crawford, 2%. So somebody out there voted for Brandon Crawford even after seeing him strike out.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, that's probably the guy that said, well, you're signing for 7. And look at what
100%.
year it was. All right, what's next? Criticisms, compliments. Marshy, what do we got? Imagine things were awesome today.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about what kind of music got you in the mood for game time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can take that as whatever direction you want. And that was actually part of the question. We got a text from the 618. I played college football and listened to opera music, and this texter was a center.
Okay, well, he's a psychopath. We've all seen Silence of the Lambs, where he cuts a guy's face off and then he's listening to classical music after.
Yeah.
That's our guy right here.
All right.
That's our guy right here.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I guess.
Center, you definitely are. Well, you're very intelligent, but also a little crazy. Centers are.
Yeah.
That's who they are, generally speaking.
We're praying for you, sir.
Got a text from the 636. Thanks, guys, for a wonderful week of shows. You kept my life much better working at Amazon and in the 150-degree heat. Let's go Blues.
Oh, all right.
Person's already ready for Blues hockey.
Yeah, we still got baseball left. Let's not do that.
Lots of baseball, right, Carey?
Lots of baseball. The next series, Jamie.
It's huge.
It'll be one of the most important series of the season.
Is.
Got to finish this one first.
Thanks, Dad says
it's over.
This is a very important series, though, at least until the next series.
There you go.
Right on cue.
Thanks, Dad. Gets it?
Right on cue.
Let's go ahead and get to our 3 stars of the day. We just brought it up, but the 3rd star of the day is going to go to Marshy's poll.
Yes.
Yeah. Anytime the poll is introduced within the show, always has to get some love.
Anytime we pull that out, the listeners don't disappoint.
Not at all.
They're excited.
2nd star of the day goes to something that is now banned, illegal, Ultimate Orange.
Yes. I don't think you can find that anywhere, to be honest.
If you do, just know you're going to be running through a wall.
Something will happen.
Do you think Rafe was, he talked about his exploder. Do you think he was on the Ultimate Orange the other night
you
at the
would
Home
have
Run
known
Derby?
if he was on Ultimate Orange.
Yeah.
Trust
he
me.
would have been.
There would have been foam in the corners of his mouth.
Yes. Like, did you take Ultimate Orange? I did.
I like to the trainer, why did you bring that in here? I don't know.
And our 1st star of the day, a shout out and a very happy birthday to to Logan. That is Joe's son. Joe is our Gauntlet contestant. And Jamie forgot his
Dylan,
name.
happy birthday. Joe's like, his name's Logan.
He was
Happy birthday, Logan.
And he was talking in the background. Like, what's he saying? I'm like, I'm wishing his kid happy birthday. He's like, his name's not Logan.
Happy birthday.
Or his name's Logan,
again,
not Dylan.
Logan.
You still have problems with it.
Yeah. Logan, happy birthday if you're still listening.
Shut up.
What's
9 years
on? What is on the docket for the weekend, gentlemen?
Rest.
Yeah.
Children. Rest.
I got a big zoo tour tomorrow.
Oh, the free zoo.
Free zoo. So oddly enough, there's a gentleman by the name of Kyle who works down at the zoo, and he listens to the show daily, and hears us talking about the zoo all the time. Reached out via email, asked if I'd like a private tour of the zoo.
That's awesome.
Going to feed the sea lions and the giraffes and stuff
Very
like that.
cool.
So
really,
going to take the family down there.
Stay away from the bears and the lions.
I don't know.
The polar bears.
No, they'll probably get along just fine.
Yeah, nah, they're crazy.
Yeah, like I said, probably get along just fine.
They have polar bears. I've actually been to the zoo a few times in the last couple of months.
There you go.
And I go see the same thing every time.
What do you see, Marshy?
I like to go see the apes. I was really in my Planet of the Apes phase, so I'm like, I gotta go see the apes. They're so cool.
For me, the monkeys, the apes, and all that stuff, they fascinate me so much because, when I look at them move around, things they do, they remind me of people that I know. They do things. I'm like, oh, that reminds me of my buddy. He used to do and you're like, it's just eerie.
Yeah.
And then they stare at you and they kind of mock you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
they're paying attention.
We're not actually looking at them.
Yeah.
They're looking at us and evaluating us.
Probably.
That is a weird way of thinking about it.
Yeah. It's weird.
They go back and talk. You see, look at this guy. Hey. Look at the idiot over there banging on the glass.
Look at this guy's haircut. Hey, buddy, did you get dressed in the dark today? Anyways, all right, so that's our show for the day here. You can go back, download the podcast, 101ESPN.com, or the 101 ESPN mobile app. All of that brought to you by our friends at Dobbs Tire and Auto. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay cool, stay safe, have a great time, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. CD, I hope you have a wonderful weekend of relaxation.
Yeah.
Marshy,
get my hip together.
Hope you do what you do on the weekends. And let's hope the Cardinals pull out a victory tomorrow in Chicago so they can tease us for another little while as we wait for the next biggest series. Anyways, have a great weekend, everybody. See ya.